Phillies are in a bad spot with the city. And I'll explain more as we continue the show. But John pitched another topic yesterday that made me think about how each one seems to be negative. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas.
My gut instinct is they're going to be good, but it almost feels like it's all or nothing this year. Bryce Harper's still going to be good this year.
90 games should be your floor when you have this much talent, this much pitching. This is a vibe of box ticking.
Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Wednesday morning, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salciunas alongside my man, John Kincade. Johnny, what up? Good morning.
And a good morning to everybody out there and to you,
It is
friend.
a Schefter Adam Wednesday.
It's a what?
It's an Adam Schefter.
It's an Adam Schefter Wednesday.
Yeah, man.
It is.
Listen, I'm still coming back from vacation here.
I like
right?
it, though. And I felt it this morning. Do you still feel vacation?
No. I was ready to come home.
No. Do you still feel the effects of vacation? Because I'm 3 weeks out now, and I still feel the effects of that week off.
No, I told you I was more tired during vacation than I am here.
We got sick.
Yeah, I got sick on
vacation, which
and
sucks.
I like wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm a weirdo.
Yeah, he's weird, folks.
I'm a weirdo. All right, so
to
yesterday after the show, yesterday's show was about kind of showing the respect to Alec Boehm, and we're talking about the psyche of the Philadelphia Phillies fan. But then on Monday, it was kind of like you just heard the open there. This is the last chance show.
You're more in that time frame than I am, but I am with you of understanding where you're at.
Yeah, with the age,
I understand where you're at.
The contracts that are coming up,
Sure.
movable pieces after this year. So it almost feels like to me the last hurrah for this core of the Phillies team. Not that they're going to plummet like they did the last time and go on a 10-year playoff drought. It's just this core, the core that we did Dancing on My Own with, in 2022, and obviously the fun year of 23 before the collapse in the NLCS. This core seems like it's the final year. And so yesterday you were pitching a topic, and I would like you to give that to the people, and then I'm going to follow up with another topic as well about the slog that the Phillies have constantly done over the last couple of years, including that Dancing on My Own team.
I would tell everybody that, first of all, and I brought it up earlier with Andrew and Connor, and we were talking about it backstage before we started. I'm of the belief that people are now sort of just nudging other Phillies fans because, honestly, if you know baseball and you understand baseball, there's no way you can look at this Phillies team and not be excited about 2025.
Right.
Like, I think it's almost like a low-key troll job.
Like contrarian.
Whatever it is. You're just going to be contrarian because if you're not excited about this Phillies team and you don't think they're going to win like 90 games, you're just being contrary because without injury, that should absolutely happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
But one thing that I think for a lot of people would point to that I've heard is, well, this team's, they're up and down. They got to get hot at the right time. I can point to a couple things, though, the last 3 years. I'm going to ask the 2025 Phillies to do something that they haven't done in the 3 years that they've been good.
Okay.
The last 3.
And they have been good.
They've been good. I think they've been more than good.
Yeah.
They've been more than good. In 2022, they played a 50-game stretch where they were 21-29. Ridiculous for the amount of money that John Middleton spends, the amount of talent they had. It got Joe Girardi fired. They played 20 games over 500 from that point on, and it was great. Then they follow up in 2023, all that momentum, and they come out and they go 25-32.
Yeah.
7 games under 500, and then they play 65-40, 25 games over, better than the year before, after June the 1st. So those 2 runs, the Phillies didn't start playing in 22 and 23 until after June 1st.
That's when the June Schwarber Fest, all that kind of stuff starts.
Last year, they go opposite.
Yeah.
They start out 61-32.
Which is insane.
And I picked that date because they went 61-32 the night that they finished sweeping the Dodgers.
Yeah.
From that point on, they played 34-35. Under 500 for 70 games for half the season, which is unacceptable. So you had 2 years where you had 50-game stretches where it was unacceptable. Last year, you had a 70-game stretch where it was unacceptable. the Phillies got to be hearing some of the negative chatter, and I hope they tune it all out because I do think people are trying to be contrarian. But I will say this. It's unacceptable if this Phillies team puts up another 50-game, 70-game stretch of just mediocre to subpar baseball. Kevin Long spoke to John Clark, and he talked about this year we just have to have our focus, and we have to have our consistency of how we do things. That points to 50, 70 games, 3 years in a row, a lack of consistency.
Yeah.
And I want to see this team just give me that.
Right.
Because I think if they give me that, they'll take all the naysayers, will be jumping back on, and they'll be zipping their lip.
And those numbers that you gave, that's not that's just baseball.
No,
like
it's not.
A 10-game stretch where you go 3-7, that's just baseball, right? I mean, the Dodgers at some point this year might go 500 over a 10-game stretch, even with that ridiculous all-star lineup that they have. That is just baseball. But those 3 consecutive seasons, a World Series appearance, an NLCS appearance, and a 95-win baseball team, you're right. I mean, they had 3 consecutive years with like 2 to 3 months of subpar baseball for this team. For this team. Baseball team with the roster that they have, the pitching staff that they have, the money allocated that they have, as you mentioned, the bullpen that they have. There is no reason that a team like this, maybe 1 out of the last 3 years, but all 3, that means there is something going on with the team.
But can I spin it one way as a potential positive?
Of course.
This Phillies team, they play a large stretch of 2022, 20 games over, which, by the way, would mean 91 and 71 over the course of a year.
Right.
They play 25 over for a large stretch in 23, and last year they played 29 over. So this team is still great when they want to be, when they focus, when they do their jobs. And to me, that's a great thing. That you can have these 50, and 70-game stretches over the course of 3 years, and you still manage to go to a World Series, an NLCS, and an LCS.
That's why I think
that's
people...
the positive in it, though.
It is a positive, but it's also, you could spin it to the negative because people go, yeah, this team's streaky. So,
and they are. But
in 2022, they had their peak, right? The peak was getting to the World Series, and they kind of maintained that through the first half of that series, and then they had a deep valley when you get no hit in a World Series game. The valley of the second half of that Diamondback series where you come back home and you choke away that series. And last year, you didn't even have a peak in the playoffs, unfortunately. We have seen this team go ice cold. Now, it happens in baseball frequently. We have seen the best team going into the playoffs, or one of the best teams in the playoffs, fall pretty early on every single year. So that is just baseball. That is the unfortunate 5-game series in the first round of the playoffs.
Like where the Braves were great in 22 and 23 and got smoked by the Phillies.
Yeah, I mean, that
not even competitive.
So it's interesting. Can the Phillies avoid that this year? They have the pieces to do it. Now, this goes into another topic that we're going to discuss today. It's 610-632-0975 for you to text in this morning, and we always appreciate our texters. I'll ask you guys both this question. Why does it feel like the majority of the talking points going into this season are more negative than positive? And I mean like negative, right? Like we are getting texters saying this is the year they don't make the playoffs, or this is just another year where they're going to lose early on. Like there is a lot of lack of hope from people. And this team is going to be good. You're right, John. Like anybody that's not excited for the season, then it almost feels like they're just doing that to do it. But I do believe there are people that are legitimately worried going into this year. But why? Like, is it because of the Dodgers? Is the Dodgers factor part of it because they have this ridiculous team? Like, you look around the division, we'll talk about it later. Like, the Mets don't scare me. They have a fun lineup, but their rotation's not good. Their bullpen's not
No,
great.
I think we just were listening to a thing yesterday. The Mets media is like, this rotation stinks.
Yeah, so
for a team expected to go to the World Series.
Unless it's the 08 Phillies when the bats are just electric every single night. How many games are they? Like, they're going to win games.
Sure.
They're going to be probably in playoff contention, but their rotation's not good.
We're going to get people to positivity by first pitch tomorrow.
That's what I hope.
I think we're going to, Connor.
So answer this question at 610-632-0975. Why does it feel like everything going into the season is negative? Whether you are on that negative side or if you're more of a positive fan, but you hear it, you hear why people are negative, explain that to us. Also, coming up next, we'll try to give you the positive guarantees for the Phillies. Something that each of us will give an answer that we can guarantee will happen for the Phillies this season in a positive way. So hopefully we can turn the tide a little bit. It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Wednesday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson.
They're in the Sixers territory with better weapons.
everything seems to be so negative going into this upcoming Philly season that starts tomorrow. A team that will win probably more than 90 games and will be in the playoffs. But the majority of the conversation surrounding this team, whether it's been running it back, lineup construction, previous failures, collapses, disappointments.
Which neither one of us is poo-pooing or discounting.
No.
Like, we understand. you can have those feelings, but then you got to look at 2025 as its own animal.
Right, exactly.
Like you can't. Like 2024 doesn't mean 2025 is going to suck. The Philadelphia Eagles just showed you that.
Right, absolutely.
2023 was atrocious how that ended. It couldn't have been worse.
Yeah.
2024 was glorious.
It absolutely was. So
that's where we're all at.
So we'd love to hear from you, 610-632-0975. But here's what I want to do. I want to do a AS20 guarantee, a CT18 guarantee. What was your number, Johnny?
11.
A JK11 guarantee. All
11.
right, Connor, does that sound good? Are we allowed to trademark these?
I don't love that you're stepping on my toes here, but go for it.
By the way, my dad once told me that I didn't seem like a single number guy. Isn't that like terrible thing to say?
Well, I don't look at it like the
Isn't
temple.
that like a terrible thing to
I don't look at
say?
it like the temple, the temple tough.
No, but I mean, like he goes, you don't seem like a single number.
Guys, I like 11. That's J-roll, man.
I like 11. No, I love that.
That was a good number, man.
J-Roll took my number.
Yes, he did.
Thank you.
All right, so let's each give like a positive guarantee for this Phillies team. Hopefully that can try to maybe change the tide in Philadelphia because it seems pretty down right now. And Johnny, I'll let you start.
We're going 3 positives.
Yeah, we'll each give a positive guarantee. And look, injury aside, right? Like,
Right. Injuries aside. We
Injuries
cannot
aside.
predict injuries.
Right.
The Phillies will have a top 3 rotation in Major League Baseball.
Yep.
Easiest.
Kinda
that's
where
the,
I'm at.
I took low-hanging fruit. That was the easiest one. You let me go first.
No,
So,
but that's
like to me,
But it's a positive guarantee.
it's a positive guarantee. Come on. It's a guarantee.
And that's the thing. Like, why do we ignore that?
Because people, well, it is interesting, is that I had a interesting discussion with some friends the other day that the idea of would you rather have the lights out best bullpen in baseball that is deep and lights
Right.
out, or would you rather have the best starting rotation? And I got sort of swayed over to going, man, the bullpen thing has become more. With this offense, I was thinking maybe you would want the more lights out bullpen. But a top 3 rotation, I think, is almost routine expectations for what this group's going to do.
All right, I'll give you one on the offensive side. then.
Okay.
How about that? 10 is too easy, but it is a guarantee. But how about I go, the Phillies will be a top 7 run-scoring offense this year. So last year they finished 5th. Despite the second half issues, they scored the 5th most runs in Major League Baseball last year. I believe they will once again be around that top 7 mark. If you have a top 3 rotation
And a top 7?
scoring offense, I'm not saying home runs because I don't give a damn how you score.
No,
right?
no.
Like I really don't. In 2023, by the way, they were 8th. So I'm going to go with top 7. 2022,
Top 7's fair.
They were 7th. So 7th.
That's good. 7's
I'm going
a
to
good
go
number.
top 7 run-scoring offense in Major League Baseball. And a lot of it because of hopefully what will continue to be this opening day lineup that includes Trey Turner in the leadoff spot.
Golden Retriever?
I'm going to go.
Sunshine Boy? I like it.
This is easy for me. A positivity exercise
Yes.
is right up my alley. I'll be a little bit conservative with the number because I think it'll be more than this, but I'm going to guarantee the Phillies have at least 4 All-Stars this year. I think that could go even higher.
Do you want to give the names?
I mean, there's a bunch of guys it could be.
Okay.
Like, I could go through a long, long list.
But at least 4.
Like half the lineup.
Okay.
Basically the full rotation, a couple guys out of the bullpen. Like 4 is a very conservative number. They had, 8 last year?
And if you have 4 All-Stars, a top 7 run-scoring offense, and a top 3 rotation, you're talking 93, 94 wins.
Yeah.
You're talking one of the best teams in baseball.
And then there's probably somebody listening right now and go,
well, the Dodgers are going to be better.
Yeah, and tell me, well, what about what happens in the playoffs?
And I'll tell you, the Dodgers have pooped their pants
Yes, they have.
in 2 of the previous 3 playoffs. So I don't know.
So
I think the positivity, I'm telling you, you know how all the negative stuff happens. The positive's coming back. By tomorrow, we will feel the positive. It's going to start stemming the tide starting this morning.
Just saying, we were the beacon of light for the Eagles season.
We were, and
even though we're the evil media.
And we were critiqued for it.
Yes.
Being positive, we were critiqued
And they
for
won the Super Bowl.
Yes.
How about it?
You're such Pollyanna.
All right, coming up next, does it matter at all what the people on the outside are saying? Because people on the outside think a lot higher about the Phillies than a lot of you. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The future of Dallas Goedert. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles, well, they quieted down on the offseason front as of late. They did make a move signing Kendall Lamb, a swing tackle formerly with the Dolphins. He's a 10-year vet. He's signed to a 1-year deal, so adds depth to the offensive line. But the next major domino to fall could be a trade of Dallas Goedert for cap relief. While it's been a hot topic, Jeff McClain of the Inquirer joined us yesterday to talk about the chances for him to stay with the Birds.
I'd heard there was a chance that he was going to go. That hasn't happened yet. But look, I see a path for him to be back here. It's just going to be dependent upon what he's willing to take in terms of a restructure.
So that may be the last big move for the Birds ahead of the draft if they get that done. We'll keep you updated on what the Eagles do. In division, the Giants have signed Russell Wilson, adding him to their quarterback room with Jameis Winston. We're just one day away from Phil's opening day as they're set to take on the Nationals. First pitch will be tomorrow at 4:05. Zach Wheeler faces off against Mackenzie Gore, the pitching matchup. Flyers fell to the Maple Leafs 7-2 last night. They're off this evening. The Sixers host the Wizards tonight at 7. You can hear that game live here on the Fanatic. And it's also our Fanatic Knockout Tournament. Adam Schefter will join us coming up at 7:55. This update's brought to you by Hand and Stone. Pricing starting at just $79.95. There's no better time to unwind and relieve stress. Find the spot nearest you at handandstone.com and experience the ultimate in relaxation. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Love that.
We're trying to do a positive Philly show today. Now, I do ask the question, and we'll check our text line here momentarily. Why does it feel like everything going into the season is negative? So we gave some positive guarantees. John is guaranteeing that the Phillies rotation will be a top 3 rotation by the end of the season. And again, injuries aside.
Yeah, we can't do that.
If Wheeler's arm blows up, yeah,
Right,
obviously
can't do
that
that.
changes. I guarantee a top 7 scoring offense in Major League Baseball. Connor's guaranteeing at least 4 All-Stars at the Midsummer Classic for the Philadelphia Phillies. And yet, as great as this team is, not just sounds like, look, they're good.
No, they are.
They've been good for 3 straight years. Have they been frustrating and disappointing at times? Yeah. Have they made us pull our hair out? Have we complained about base running decisions and lineup construction and approach? Of course we have. But we can't all of a sudden just ignore the fact that they are a good baseball team because they're a great baseball team. They're better than good. They could very well win this division again this year.
That's where it feels like a troll job to me. Like some people are just thing. Now, someone on Twitter here saying it's the Eagles hangover. That the Eagles have grabbed so much positivity that we look at the warts of the Phillies. I said, well, look at the Eagles as a blueprint.
Yeah.
Look at the Eagles. The Eagles' disappointment of 2023 fueled 2024 and gave us our greatest season ever.
Use what we've had to deal with both the Sixers and Flyers, obviously different paths. One's a rebuild and one's not. It's been a rough, since the Eagles won their Super Bowl, we had the honeymoon phase, obviously.
Yeah, it's been rough.
But it's been a rough month and 2 weeks, right, for the other teams, the other winter teams. Use the Phillies as your beacon of light.
Yes, use the
I'm
Phillies
excited
as-
to watch competitive sports again in Philadelphia. It's been over a month.
I was out on a little hike yesterday, and I was like, it's 60. Like, it was probably like 60 degrees.
Oh, yeah,
A
yesterday
little bit
was
of a breeze.
beautiful.
It was beautiful. It was sunny, and I'm going, I got baseball to watch like 6 nights a week.
Yeah.
I got some baseball to have on. Now, a lot of times it's background music, like, to whatever you're doing,
course.
But still, it's
But
awesome.
that's the beauty of
It's
it. You
awesome.
can do it. You can lock in, or you can have it as,
Right.
as background noise, and you have a good baseball team to do it with. You're not watching the Chicago White Sox. All right, you're watching the
No.
Philadelphia Phillies that are, second in terms of odds of winning the division, and fourth in terms of odds of winning the World Series?
You're right there.
That's pretty damn good.
So, obviously, there's a disconnect between, I think, fan wounds, and I think there are wounds, mental wounds, that
Is
people
that
carry.
all? Is that all that it is? Because nobody.
I think it's got to be because if you don't like, and by the way, if you don't like this Phillies team too, no matter what warts they had,
right.
if you don't like this, I think this Phillies team may be the most likable group of players this organization has ever put together. I'm being honest. Like, there was an arrogance about the 80s level Phillies that you guys would never remember.
Now,
there was
08
an
probably.
arrogance. Yeah, there was. 08 was good. It was very, very good.
Like, we love those dudes.
Yeah.
But they
a
do
lot
have,
of it was the homegrown.
right.
Yes.
They do have great guys, though, that produce. They're good players. You have a great team. Like, it's crazy that this is the having to drag people to like this team thing. It's got to be the emotional stuff.
It has to be. And I understand it. Like, I do understand the emotional stuff. But here's
Sure
the
we
deal. The national media, who we like to attack often, I do it. They say something stupid.
Sure.
Not afraid to point it out. The national media is in love with the Phillies.
Oh, they love them.
I just pulled up 3 power rankings just during this conversation. And later on in the show, ESPN did like their big MLB 2025 preview, and they did this big deep dive on the Phillies. So we'll get to that in the 8 o'clock hour. But just to let people know what the national media is saying about the Phillies. CBS has the Phillies second in their power rankings before the season starts, just behind the Los Angeles Dodgers. Bleacher Report has the Phillies second on the power rankings, just behind the Los Angeles Dodgers. On NBC Sports, not Philadelphia, but their national platform, they have the Phillies third in the power rankings, behind the Dodgers at number 1 and the Braves at number 2. So in 3 power rankings that I pulled up in 10 seconds, you got a second spot, and a third spot.
There it is.
And
There
I'll
it
tell
is.
you
It's
right now,
just-
preview, the Phillies are in the top 3 in the ESPN one that we'll get to in the 8 o'clock hour. So the national media is telling you that this team's going to be very good. The people that cover the entire league are going to tell you that they're very good. I get it. The big bad Dodgers are number one. And that's the team that you're going to have to either hope somebody knocks out or you're going to have to knock out in order to get back to the World Series.
I'll worry about October when October gets here.
Exactly.
The Diamondbacks and the Padres beat the Dodgers. Padres in 22, Diamondbacks in 23. They were relative 80-some win teams.
Yeah.
And they beat the big bad Dodgers, the 100-win Dodgers.
And by the way, the Diamondbacks got better
They did.
this year. I mean,
They did. They were 88 last year or 89. One of them, they were maybe 88, 89.
yeah, they had a bit of a down year
And it's still
win-wise.
And that's a down year. That's
But
still
they
a very
improved
good
their
year.
pitching staff this
They
year
did.
with Corbin Burns. So who knows? What if the Diamondbacks and Dodgers match up in the first round again? It's very well possible.
You don't know what's going to happen. And I'd rather play the Dodgers in a 5-game, by the way, if you ever had to play them.
Yeah.
I'd rather play them in a 5-game than a 7.
Well, and that was how it worked for the Phillies the first 2 years against the Braves. You steal the first one on the road.
And then you just take advantage.
And so that's why I'm so confused. Like, you have people here in the city trying to tell you that they're going to be good. The national media is telling you that they're going to be elite, right? Like, number 2 is number 2. Second best team in their power rankings tells you that they're going to be an elite baseball team. And yet there's just a lot of negativity surrounding the team, and I'm trying to figure out why. And I guess you're right, John. It's probably just the emotional scarring. I don't think it's Eagles hangover, to that tweeter's point. I really don't. I at least for me, I can separate the entities. Like, they're separate teams. Like, I get it. I'll wear a Phillies sweatshirt and an Eagles hat on the same day, but they're separate.
Don't go tuxedo. Do you wear sweatpants too?
Yes, of
Oh,
course
well,
I
then you're all set.
But they're separate entities. Like, if the Eagles are playing well, that has nothing to do with whether or not the Phillies are going to play well or play poorly. It has nothing to do with anything for me. I'm excited for the next season already.
I think the Eagles winning a world championship gives me more excitement about a Phillies season starting. Because I'm feeling I'm getting the contact high.
Yeah.
I'm just feeling it. I'm feeling that out there, which is great. I wanted to just give a shout out. We have a listener.
Yes, please.
One of our listeners, and he's been a caller too. Eddie calls in occasionally. He is an Amtrak cop, Eddie Alderson. And if you saw Channel 6 News last night, he got featured on the news as the local hometown hero. He is an Amtrak policeman. He's at the 30th Street station. He's working, and one of the train conductors has a heart attack and is out.
Oh my God.
And stops breathing on his train. Eddie got the pack that gives you the charges to be able to pump somebody's chest, runs down, gets on the train, and he manages to, with CPR and with the paddles, gets the man's pulse, heart beating again, and saves his life.
That's amazing.
And Eddie's a big listener to the show. Eddie Alderson is a local hero.
Yes, you are.
And Eddie, I know you're driving to work right now, so thank you for protecting everybody. I'll be on that Acela train Friday, and I told him I hope not to see you.
Yeah,
I hope not to
exactly.
have any reason to see Eddie on Friday. But
that's an amazing story.
Good job,
to
Eddie.
act quickly, to not panic, and by the way, to save the man's life. That's
oh my
an
gosh.
incredible
and
story.
And the two of them met on Channel 6. They reunited them.
That's really cool.
And it was a great
awesome,
story.
yeah. Shout out Eddie.
And Eddie listens and loves to golf, too. He's not very good at it, but
Hopefully,
I'm going to teach him a few things.
Hopefully, Eddie is positive about the Phillies.
I think he is. I think he's always positive. His dad is, too. His dad's a listener, too. So his dad's an ex-Philly cop.
Okay.
And he's a listener, so I'm sure they're positive. The Aldersons are positive about the Phillies.
I think a lot of people need a shock when it comes to the Phillies. Seriously.
I think, you know what it'll be? I'm really hoping it'll be a beautiful day tomorrow. Everybody gets a cold beverage in their hand.
Wheels up.
Congregate. I think it's going to come about.
Wheels goes 6 innings.
I'd like more, but that's right.
The
First
opening
out.
day.
Opening day, yeah.
First out.
6 innings. Give me like 6 Ks.
We'll take it.
1 earned.
We'll take it.
You know. Phillies win the ball game. They're 1-0. We celebrate.
You know what's going to be great is the Trey Turner leadoff home run.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's going to be the ultimate discourse.
That would be fantastic.
By the way, I think I'm going to bet on him to hit a home run tomorrow.
His old ballpark.
I don't know why.
Old ballpark too. Why not?
Schwarber loves hitting there too, though. So.
All right, coming up next, we'll check our text messages for the first time this morning. Why are we going into the season so negative? That's all I want to know. And if somebody is positive going into the season, maybe try to think why. Is it really just all emotional? It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Wednesday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Mike Missanelli, Bill Colarulo, and Ray.
course, 97.5 The Fanatic on this Wednesday morning. All right, we'll check our text line here. I got a tweet from Chris.
Okay, what did Chris have to say?
Same lineup except for left field. Why expect something other than 2 or 3 months of bad baseball? And that's the mentality that we're getting from a lot of people. You said it earlier. You think at this point it's just trolling or contrarian.
I think
you know
it's
what,
a
John?
little.
I don't know that it is.
Okay, well, what do you think it is?
I think there are a lot of people that just need to see them play well again.
Okay, but
and maybe that'll wake people up. But then again, then you'll get the people that go, all right, wake me up when. And I don't like that there are people that have that attitude, but you know that it's out there.
Well, the thing is, if you were, I honestly, I'm interested to hear what every one of our listeners has to say. Like, I really get it. But I got to know, if you're going to be the wake me up when person, you're a spoiled brat.
Yes.
Because baseball seasons like this, especially in the history of the losingest franchise in all of professional sports, these come along, these periods of time in your life come along so infrequently. It came along when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Into my first year of college. Then it came along a 1-year blip in the 90s.
Right.
And then it came along for like a 5-year blip in middle age.
Yeah, I mean, this Phillies team
doesn't happen.
Is historically bad.
I mean, they're the worst
10,000
franchise
losses
in pro
like,
sports.
Yeah, like they're historically bad. So enjoy these moments when you have it. Now, our man Joe the Cynic, another tweet, goes to your Eagles point that you said. Remember what happened in 23 and then 24 they win the Super Bowl. He said, but the Eagles didn't run it back with the same squad. They added some running back from New York. Is Kepler Barkley? No.
I don't know what Kepler is. I got to tell you. No, he's not. But I don't know what Kepler is. And I don't know what Kepler does to the lineup that potentially gets other guys playing more up to their capabilities. That, like, guys put together a season that really says, here's what I'm all about. I don't know. We're gonna find out.
Yep, we'll find
about
out
this team very soon.
What are the people saying on the text line this morning, Connor? Again, our question. It's not what are you negative about or what are you positive about, but why is it that it seems like every bit of talk going into the season that starts tomorrow, the journey to 90-plus wins begins tomorrow in D.C. Why is it that the tone seems to be so negative from a lot of you, not us?
Yeah, we're being positive.
I feel like we're doing the Eagles show all over again. I feel like this is September of 24, where we were going, hey, whoa, where's the excitement with this team? And they end up winning the Super Bowl. We got bashed for being excited.
Last year was I loved because I did save some of the tweets.
I know you did, and they never followed up.
I saved some, and I'm like, but I didn't troll back. I didn't go back going, is this you? Is this you?
I just hope the
But you could.
You got the slips for the people that said they would donate to charity if certain things happened.
And by the way, a few did.
Okay, that's good.
A few were losers.
What do we got in the text line?
One of our first texts today, because you did where the Phillies are with the national media and the power rankings and various things like that. Where are the Phillies at in the choke rankings?
Yeah, see, like right away. Where are they? Where are they in the choke rankings?
I don't get it.
Like, I get it. Last year sucked. The year before that sucked with the NLCS. I will never forgive them. That was probably, that and the Hawks series will go down as the two most painful series that I ever had to endure with a Philadelphia sports team because my team was clearly better than them.
Yeah, that team wasn't winning a title, though.
Right. No, it wasn't. But
still, though, it was a huge...
It was a painful series against the Hawks. There's no way they should have. That should have been the year they get out of the second round. They don't. I understand the collapses and failures and choke jobs, however you want to term it. But to just be like, yeah, they choked last year, so that's it. Like, does this team feel like a group of chokers? Because I don't get that sense. They went to the World Series 2 years ago. It was horrible in the NLCS, but I'm not going to label them chokers. And they went into the playoffs last year leaking oil, and the Mets went in hot.
As long as you say that the Dodgers were chokers in 22 and 23.
Right.
And then if you got to say that, then you need to say the Braves were chokers in 22 and 23, which then discredits the Phillies and what they did to the Braves.
By the way, the Dodgers got over the hump. What makes you think the Phillies can't be the next team that gets over the hump? That is a big part of winning championships. We were, you mentioned spoiled. We were spoiled with 08 because they won it on their first try in the World Series and just their second try of postseason contention. Whereas there are some teams that make it to the playoffs 4 or 5 years and don't even get to the championship series and then eventually get over the hump because they get better players. Now, to our man Joe the Cynic's point, it's not like they improved the roster mightily. At least we don't think they did. Jordan Romano could be a stud. The new look Jose Alvarado, where he lost a bunch of weight, could be a different addition.
But he wasn't bad.
No, he wasn't, but he could be better. Andrew Painter, eventually, you're going to acquire him around the deadline time, so it's going to feel like you got another piece. And, of course, you're going to rely a lot on Andrew Painter at a young age, but this guy, if this guy's the top pitcher that everybody's telling him, not just here, but nationally, that should give you confidence. What else are people saying?
Yeah, we have a check-in here from John V, who says if you've gotten your heart broken 3 years in a row, you're super hesitant to go into the next relationship the same as the first or second. I think that's where people are at.
And I think that one I understand the most. Now, I'm not going to let it bother me to the point where I can't enjoy opening day tomorrow.
I don't get you. I really don't. I just don't understand it. The opening day is one of the best. It's one of the, and I guarantee you, Connor won't sleep tonight after a disappointing loss.
Well, I won't sleep because I'll be playing knockout.
Well, it'll be a
1 a.m.
disappointing loss in knockout. Will really hurt him, and then
Don't bet on it.
But it's going to be a tough one.
When I take you out in the first round.
Here's the thing with here's what I don't get. Like, I get the emotional thing, right? But who's the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies? Is it Rob Thompson?
Yes.
Because the city is treating it like it's Doc Rivers, which is perfect because we talked about Doc Rivers and the three-win series losses.
Nobody gives me credit for getting to 3-1. They just rip me for losing.
I can't believe that
People
he ever
treat
said
the
that.
Phillies that's what they do. That is not what they do. That's not what they've done. This team is not like perennial chokers. They've had great playoff series. They just haven't won the big one. And 23 sucked, and 24 sucked. But this is not a team that it's just like, oh, this constant trend of they can't, they always fail in the major opportunities. Like, listen, I said it to John. It might have been when Andrew was out. But this team has won more in the postseason than they've lost. Like, significantly.
Yeah.
They can win.
Look, I mean, and you look at other teams around baseball, to your point. Then you got to call the Dodgers chokers.
You got to call the Braves chokers.
And the Braves chokers. What about the other side? The Yankees have also a very high payroll. Here have been their last couple of years. They got to the World Series last year and lost, right? The year before that, they didn't make the playoffs. The year before that, they got swept in the ALCS. And the year before that, it was when it was still the one-game wild card, and they lost that game. The Yankees, are we going to call them chokers when people have them as a top 5 team this year too?
I mean, it's the choker thing is just, to me, is if you see, to me, choking would be losing early. Like last year to the Mets. I don't consider that a choke job.
I just went straight failure.
It was a failure.
They fell apart.
I said it was a failure. But they had been failing for months, and the part that annoyed me was I was constantly being told,
Don't worry about it.
relax.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. It's baseball. No, you should worry about it. You should pay attention because it matters. What you see with your eyes for months matters.
But I don't think you should worry about it going into opening day.
No. It's a
shouldn't.
clean slate.
Yeah, damn right it is.
It's a clean slate.
So we'd love to hear from more of you at 610-632-0975. Why is it that the tone surrounding the Phillies has been more negative than positive? At least I think it's been more negative than positive.
I think it has.
And so I want to know, what is it? What's the genesis of it? Is it just because of the past, or do you think the future is a problem as well? So we'll reset the show coming up next. Also, the Eagles are already 2-0 to start the 2025 season.
You're not doing wins and losses. We don't even know the schedule.
It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Eagles add a swing tackle. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Birds made a depth move in free agency, signing Kendall Lamb, a 10-year vet from the Dolphins. He will be a swing tackle for the Birds. A little bit of depth behind the great O-line. He's on a 1-year deal. But the Eagles have quieted down in their offseason moves as of late. The next big domino to fall could be a trade of Dallas Goedert for cap relief, and that has been a hot topic. A lot of reports about that, or at least rumors about that. Jeff McLean of the Inquirer joined us yesterday to talk about the chances Goddard actually stays with the Eagles.
You know, I heard there was a chance that he was going to go. That hasn't happened yet. But look, I see a path for him to be back here. It's just going to be dependent upon what he's willing to take in terms of a restructure.
We'll keep you updated on what the Eagles do as the offseason continues. In division, the Giants have signed Russell Wilson, adding to their very strange quarterback room.
Let's roll.
Jameis Winston. We're just one day away from Phil's opening day as they're set to take on 1. The Nationals' first pitch will be tomorrow at 4:05. Zach Wheeler faces Mackenzie Gore in the pitching matchup. Flyers fell to the Maple Leafs 7-2 last night. They're off this evening. Sixers host the Wizards tonight at 7. You can hear that game live here on The Fanatic. It's also our knockout tournament. Adam Schefter will join us coming up at 7:55. This update's brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. That feeling of owning your first Mercedes-Benz is hard to believe, but it's real. From the leather stitching to the iconic design, every element of a Mercedes lives up to its reputation. See for yourself at your local dealer. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
coming up here in a few minutes to start the 7 o'clock hour as it's 6:55 here on this Wednesday morning. Knockout Day. Excited to see all of you who are a part of Knockout tonight at the Sixers game. Go team.
Is Karate a part of it tonight?
Karate
Our friend
Mark?
Karate Mark? He's been part of it
usually
before.
is. Yeah, I wouldn't be
He's been part
surprised
of it
if he is.
before.
So yeah, looking forward to hanging out with the people tonight. It's always fun.
People liked being able to win by going online too. We
Yeah.
saw a lot of people that went and registered on the website, so we appreciate it. Check out the traffic. Go to 975thefanatic.com. Check out what we got going on there. And also check out the YouTube channel.
Yeah, the YouTube as well. Not only do you can watch the show right now on YouTube, but we do our post-show headlines. We have a lot of content that goes on after the show as well on our YouTube feed.
Sometimes Connor gets talked about in post-show headlines.
Yes, he does.
What?
Like, subscribe, you name it.
Yes. We're usually complimentary.
Oh, well, that's
Well,
nice,
not
huh?
yesterday.
Not yesterday.
When you were trying to say that getting a hole-in-one on a
I wasn't trying
on
to
a
say
fake
anything.
golf
You asked
simulator.
the question.
I asked the question.
If Connor almost got a hole-in-one on a golf simulator, which, by the way, I have also done, also come very close to, getting on a golf simulator in Ardmore.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
Like, it doesn't count.
I wouldn't
It's
even.
not right.
I wouldn't even ask the
Now,
question.
I've gotten it on Golden Tee.
That's
Now,
that's more impressive.
I got my first hole-in-one, Golden Tee. I can check it off.
That's honestly more impressive than the golf
Guys,
simulator.
you're arguing with me on something I didn't argue on.
Well, I know the fact that you even asked the
Why
question.
would you ask the
It's
question?
not even
though?
I was
question.
just curious what
Not
you
even
guys
a question.
thought
Where you know
were
that
on
is
it.
there any stupid questions? Yes.
Yes, that's the truth.
That's
You'd
not
be a terrible teacher.
that's not question worthy.
My teachers always told me there were no stupid questions.
All right, so
every
the-
time I asked one.
Our question is not stupid today when it comes to the Phillies. Maybe some people will think it's stupid
Some people will,
because they'll
yes.
think it's obvious.
Absolutely.
Why are a lot of you, the majority of you, in my opinion,
Really?
going into this season more with the negative attitude?
I'm not there with you on that. I don't share your opinion. I do not think the majority of Phillies fans are going into the season negative. I really don't buy
And
that at all.
I just has it been fun talking about the Phillies?
No,
at
but I don't
all?
buy. I don't buy that premise.
I
at
have
all.
not enjoyed tomorrow. You know, I can't wait for tomorrow because tomorrow's like the opening day show.
Optimism.
So tomorrow's going to be the day where we do futures talks. We talk
Right,
about
right.
we'll put in our envelopes who's going to win the divisions and
Right,
and
exactly.
we'll try to do stat predictions and all kind of stuff. Right? Like I'm excited for tomorrow because tomorrow I can just talk baseball. I know that I'm a football guy, but
I got you.
I'm more seam head than football guy. I can't wait for tomorrow. Leading up to tomorrow, the Phillies discussion has not been fun.
It hasn't been, and we've tried. I know we've tried.
We have.
We've done our best.
Now, look, I have my concerns yesterday. Speaking of post-show headlines, one of the topics that we got into yesterday, I asked the question. And, Connor, I'd like you to give an answer on this. And this goes to my point today that it seems like every talking point's negative. Within the first month of the season, what are you expecting to be annoyed by? John brought up runners in scoring position. The maybe not scoring as much with runners in scoring position. I am a little concerned that they come out the gate a little slow this year, which, hey, the first two times they did that, it's worked. They got to a World Series and NLCS, but I don't want to rely on that. I just think there's going to be the mentality of, hey, we're going to get to the playoffs. It's just a matter of what we do in the playoffs. And I wonder if that could be something that they struggle with early on. Maybe they win games because the pitching staff's going to be electric. I just don't want to win 2-1 or 3-2 every single day.
I mean, I'll win
I
anyway
don't
you
give
can
a
win.
damn how they
Yeah.
win. I don't give a damn
but
how
Mr.
they
I
win.
know,
To
but
play
then we're gonna
softball or small ball doesn't want them to win 2-1 or 3-1.
Well, what if it's because they hit 2 home runs and they had 3 hits total
I
in
don't
the
care,
game?
dude.
We're
If they
gonna-
win, they win.
If the offense does not look good, be prepared for a lot of conversations about this is what's going to happen come October. And I don't want that to happen. So what is something, as you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. What is something within the first month of the season that you are expected to be annoyed by?
There's only one, maybe 1.5 things that would even come close to annoying me in the first month of a long season. The one for sure is Taijuan Walker. It's going to suck to watch him start for this team. But it's not going to be a long-term thing, so you just got to soldier through it.
You hope.
The half
Because I
is-
can't totally just say Rangers going to come back and be fine.
Well, no, but you could have different options deeper in the season.
Right.
If Joe Ross gets more stretched out, he's a swing guy that you have in the pen. Painter will come up at some point. So Just soldier through the time when Walker starts. That's going to annoy me for sure. That's a guarantee. I do think there's going to be like that one guy in the bullpen because they lost a little bit of bullpen depth when it comes to high-end arms. I think there is going to be the one, we'll call it the Junior Marte Memorial role, where every time a guy steps on the mound, it's like, this is not going to go well. But that is more of I think every bullpen has that guy early in the season while they work stuff out. And one dude in the bullpen isn't really enough to annoy me. So
one guy isn't?
No.
There always seems to be the one. There's the one bullpen guy that every year becomes at some point the story.
Yeah, but
this guy's a disaster.
That's because there's 210 of them at the major league level. You're not going to find 210 major league caliber.
You don't have a Brandon Workman on this team. You don't have who's the other Heath Hembry?
Yeah,
you don't have those guys, right? Like Jose Ruiz, who was actually pretty good for you during the course of the season. I didn't need to see him pitch much in the playoffs, and Topper went to him a lot. But he's a guy where he's the back end of your bullpen, not in terms of closing role, in terms of just depth wise. Like Jose Ruiz is the sixth inning guy. We need a couple outs here, but I don't see anybody in the bullpen where I'm worried about. I love Kerkering and Alvarado. I'm excited to see Jordan Romano.
Yeah, I think if they go Tanner Banks too much for the lefty stuff, he doesn't really throw that hard.
But they might have to,
the guy.
Especially if who knows what the deal is with Strahm. I know that they're saying he's going to be fine for opening day, but I don't need Strahm to be overpitched too, which has been a problem with this team the last couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's very little over the first month of this season that I could see annoying me. They're going to be just fine.
I don't see it, Connor. I don't see it either. The first month of the season, the one thing I'm going to give this team is the grace to understand that 22 and 23, no matter how much it annoyed me, the first 2 months, they managed to straighten things out and it got going. I fully expect we will see a 3-month stretch of 20 games over 500.
Well, now let me ask you
22 games over.
What if you don't like the approach early on and it's much of the same?
I've already told.
I can't believe you would be quiet about that.
No, I've already told. No, being quiet about it is one thing. I'm not going to be quiet about anything.
When has John ever been quiet about something?
Exactly. I mean, blackjack tables, churches, and planes. That's it. That's it. And but to me, no, I won't be quiet about it. But I will absolutely believe and still believe that this team can do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That they can come back and that it's a long season. I refuse to consume a baseball season like a football season.
Yeah, you can't.
Just not doing it.
All right, speaking of football season, the Eagles are already 2-0.
Okay, I want to hear about this one.
The Giants signed Russell Wilson yesterday. And so that's 2 wins.
Yeah, they were already 2 wins before Russell got signed.
Yeah,
right?
but it might be,
what was Tommy DeVito or Jameis Lick Your Fingers Winston?
That's true. Well, I don't know. Maybe people were more worried about Rodgers than Russell Wilson. But yeah, Russell Wilson signing a 1-year deal with the Giants, and that is your quarterback room. Tommy DeVito is your third-string quarterback. Jameis Winston is your backup, and Russell Wilson is the starter. So a little bit of news in the NFC East with Russell Wilson signing with the Giants. But
that's incredible to me because I really didn't think he was going there. I didn't think he was going there.
I don't get the point.
Because they're so desperate. They took such egg on their face last year.
I know they did. So what? They bring in Mr. Unlimited? Russell Wilson? Dude's a weirdo.
They're trying to do anything to save their jobs. They're trying to do anything to get to 9-8 and hopefully sneak into a wild card spot. They're doing whatever they can.
That's what puts teams in purgatory. That's what the Raiders are going to be in purgatory by getting Geno Smith and what they're going to eventually pay him. That's why teams struggle. And look, great for the Eagles because that's one of the teams in the division. The New York Giants are just, to your point, they're going to hope to finish around 500.
They're going to hope to do something that just gets to everybody go, wow, they got something cooking here.
And I know they have Malik Neighbors.
And by the way,
that's great. By the way, Russell Wilson had George Pickens last year. How'd it go?
I will roll into I'll be probably going to Mass at the Cathedral this week in D.C. I will light a candle at the Cathedral, hoping that the Giants draft Shedeur Sanders also. I want them to draft him, put him in that quarterback room, and draft him with the 3rd overall pick. Because if you buy Shedeur Sanders with the 3rd pick in this draft, you are absolutely paying $100,000 for a $40,000 car. A nice car.
Yeah.
Nice car. But you're paying $100,000 for it.
You gave the one mock where he was at 32.
Which is crazy.
I don't think he's
believe
fall that far.
But if they pick Sanders in the top 3, I will chuckle Oh, I will love it because then we could just count on it.
Well, it's every single year teams make mistakes with these top quarterbacks because they're desperate.
Right.
And then the Giants are just desperate for, like, signing Russell Wilson makes no sense if you're the New York Giants.
It does not.
Honestly, it makes no sense. Like, you should draft a quarterback, have him be the backup to Jameis Winston, and lose a lot of games, and then the next year you have another high draft pick for an offensive lineman to protect your rookie quarterback or who will be your second-year quarterback. This is why NFL teams piss me off. Now, the Eagles benefit from this because this is 2 wins. They're 2-0. It just makes no sense to me.
It only makes
Russell
sense.
Wilson should not be a starter in the NFL anymore.
It only makes sense if they draft a guy this year.
Yeah, but then you got, I don't know, you're having those two guys train them?
I think that's a sneaky good group to train a young quarterback.
Cleveland?
Do we know that Russell Wilson
Cleveland
likes
was
doing
glad,
that? I don't know.
Cleveland locker room was glad to have Winston gone. They were okay with
Where
having.
did you hear that? He's like one of the most liked players in every locker room he's ever been.
Mary Kay Cabot. She covers the team on a daily basis.
She knows the Browns
there was
inside
nobody
and out.
going, we gotta have him back. Maybe I phrased it wrong. We gotta have this guy back. Nobody's saying.
I think that's more the player than the person.
All right,
well,
coming
no, that
up
could
next,
be the person, but I need the player to do something if I'm drafting a young quarterback.
Coming up next, we'll try to give another reason to be positive for the Phillies. I think John and Connor will agree about this, and I think there will be a lot of suckers out there following a specific team that's inside this Phillies division. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson, Ricky Vitalico, and Silvana Kelleher. The best show ever.
trying to change the tide in Philadelphia with this Phillies team. It's like deja vu, but instead of the Eagles, Johnny, it's the Phillies, where we are trying to be the beacon of light. Where we were bashed being the beacons of light for the Philadelphia Eagles before the season started, in which you etched in stone the date of the NFC Championship game.
Yes.
And then they went even further and won the Super Bowl. Now, I'm not going to etch in stone the dates of the NLCS, but I will etch in stone a 90-plus win baseball club, which gets you into the playoffs.
Okay, if I was to say to you, though, NLCS, if you did want to etch it in stone, I think it's Saturday the 18th of October.
Like that.
Okay.
Good time of the year.
Good time of year. But I would say to you this, is that is anything less than that acceptable?
No.
Nah.
No.
NLCS should be the...
Yeah.
What?
Maybe.
They can't. They have to go further than last year.
Well, they should, based on the talent of the team. But the division is in a weird spot. Like, the Braves could be real good. So let's say
I expect them to be, but not as good as the Phillies.
let's say the Braves win 95, the Phillies win 94. The Phillies are a wild card team, and you end up with a divisional series against the Dodgers in L.A. Like,
Right. I think it depends on how it shapes up. Like,
if you
At the
lose
division, guess what? I'll tell you right now. First of all, I don't care about home field advantage when it comes to the Dodgers, because the Dodgers are not some juggernaut in L.A. They lose all the time there in the postseason.
yeah, I got you.
And I want if the Phillies have to play the Dodgers,
you'd rather it in five.
5 anytime over 7
For sure. But
so I think that actually would work out for you.
I just can't say if you run into that team before the NLCS, which is a distinct possibility.
a distinct possibility.
I can't like blatantly now call that like a failure if they don't
Okay.
get there, because that team is unbelievable.
Right.
I got you.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I guess it depends on how the bracket shapes up. Now, another way I'm going to try to make people feel more positive about this Eagles season, or Phillies season, excuse me.
Because the Eagles are very positive.
And I think you guys agree based off of our previous conversations. To me, even though the Braves are the favorites to win the NL East, I'm still going to take the Phillies in terms of a bet. Value's not too bad. And oh, by the way, the Braves are dealing with injuries to start the season.
You're not going to have Acuna. You're not going to have Strider.
And they're thinking till like May.
And there's a chance. Yeah, well, you're not going to. Yeah, Strider should be ready to go by early May.
Right.
So he should go by Cinco de Mayo, is what I've been told.
Okay.
Is that like to look around that? So you're losing a month of Strider. So the Phillies will get their first trip to Atlanta. The first time they go, first 3 games. And by the way, the games in the division this year are mission critical.
Yeah.
If you want to win
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So the first 3 games you play at Atlanta in the division, you don't have to face Strider or Acuna. That's damn good.
Yeah.
That's
it
damn
absolutely
good.
is.
That's an advantage. That's an opportunity. That's why I was saying to Connor during the while you were away, Mother's Day, that you want to be in by Mother's Day.
Right.
The Monday after Mother's Day, I want to be saying Phillies are in first place. I'll feel really good about it if they are.
Now, the other portion of this conversation is the Mets. So the Mets are getting all the national attention right now. Number 1, New York. All right, keep that in mind. They want a New York team to be good.
Absolutely, they do.
Networks like ESPN, CBS, and Fox would love it if the Mets and Yankees were both toward the top of their respective divisions, because it is the major markets. It's the Yankees, it's the Mets. So that's part of the reason why they're getting all the love. Juan Soto was the biggest splash, and he's making $756 million. So Juan Soto, the biggest name that was moved during the offseason, goes to New York. So you have the star player, the major market, and they were the fun team that made the playoffs last year that had a nice little run. And as good as the lineup might be, because they do have some nice pieces, them getting Pete Alonso back was huge for them. And I'm disappointed that the Phillies did not get him. But you forget their lineup for a second. I know it's hard to when they have Alonso and they have Francisco Lindor and they have Juan Soto and they have, annoying Brandon Nimmo. I know they got good players. Their rotation, like the Sean Manaea pitching from the other side of the bullpen.
If Sean Manaea is your number 1,
Yeah, like, come on.
I don't think that's legit, even though it caused problems last year.
Sean Manaea, Clay Holmes, Tyler McGill, Griffin Canning, David Peterson,
Give me this. Give me this.
Kodai Senga.
Both of you right now. Give me Sean Manaea, the Phillies pitchers, and not trying to do the left-right thing, where would Sean Manaea be on the Phillies starting staff?
He's probably coming in.
Who is he supplanting?
I'll go Luzardo.
Yeah, probably. He'd probably be your 4 or 5.
In terms of consistency over the course of a career, because Luzardo's had some down years.
That's fair. That's fair. So you put him, though, as a better pitcher than Ranger Suarez?
Well, I can't. I like.
I'm wondering.
I like Ranger the pitcher more than I do like Sean Manaea.
If we take Manaea out of it, is there anybody on the Mets staff you think supplants?
That's what I'm saying.
They're not good.
Their rotation is not good, and so unless they're the 08 Phillies, because the 08 Phillies won 90 games, right? I think they won 90 games with Cole Hamels, who was obviously a stud, right?
Yeah, that team there.
But then Brett Myers and Jamie Moyer.
Well, put some respect on Jamie Moyer's name.
Well, look, that's my guy.
My 78 throwing king.
The eventual acquisition of Joe Blanton, Kyle Kendrick was a part of that rotation. Like, that rotation wasn't good. Now, the bats were so good, and the bullpen, you had Brad Lidge, which helped a lot, and they do have Edwin Diaz. Like, Edwin Diaz is very, very good for the Mets, and they have some decent bullpen arms. But that rotation borderline stinks.
No, it does. And the thing is, it's one of the reasons why I don't think, and then you talk about Strider's going to miss a sixth of the season. Acuna's going to miss a third of the season. I think the Phillies should be expected to win this division. I think they should be expected. I think anything less is playing it too soft as far as a fan base.
Yeah.
We should expect them to win.
Well, tomorrow we do all our on-the-record discussions and predictions for the upcoming season. But I hope that we're helping the people out. We'll check the text line a little bit coming up at 610-632-0975 when it comes to the Phillies. Why does it feel like the majority of talking points have been negative surrounding this team? Also, we'll get back dipping our toes into the Eagles' waters. Dave Zangaro wrote an article for NBC Sports Philadelphia, the best and worst case scenarios for each of the free agent signings that they've made so far. We'll go through those next. It is Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Birds add some line depth. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles have added to the offensive line room, signing Kendall Lamb from the Dolphins. He's a swing tackle, a 10-year vet, so he's been around the block a couple times. He's on a one-year deal. He'll be a depth piece for the Birds this year, but they've quieted down on the offseason front as of late. The next big domino to fall very well could be a trade of Dallas Goedert for cap relief. It's become a hot story this offseason. Jeff McClain of the Inquirer joined us yesterday to talk about the path to Goedert potentially staying with the team.
You know, I heard there was a chance that he was going to go. That hasn't happened yet. But look, I see a path for him to be back here. It's just going to be dependent upon what he's willing to take in terms of a restructure.
We'll keep you updated on what the Eagles do. That's probably their biggest storyline going forward. In division, the Giants have signed Russell Wilson, adding him to their quarterback room with Jameis Winston. We're just one day away from Phil's opening day. They're set to take on the Nationals tomorrow. First pitch at 4:05 p.m. from Washington. Zach Wheeler takes on Mackenzie Gore. Flyers fell to the Maple Leafs 7-2 last night. They're off this evening. The Sixers host the Wizards tonight at 7. You can hear that game live here on the Fanatic. It's also our Fanatic Knockout Tournament night. Adam Schefter of ESPN will join us coming up at 7:55. This update's brought to you by the Delaware County EDSI. Don't miss the Spring Job Fair in Delaware County, Thursday, March 27th from 11 to 2 at the Springfield YMCA. More info at pacareerlinkdelco.org or on their Facebook page. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Vacation? Business trip?
7:26 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Talking a lot about the Phillies this morning and why the majority of conversation going into the season has been more negative than positive. And it's been pretty disappointing. Like, I have not had fun talking about a Phillies team that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And that kind of like makes me miserable. Now, I don't allow people to bring me down too much, but when I'm trying to have like a fun day, like tomorrow, I can't wait. There's going to be no negativity on this show. Like, honestly, Connor, if there's a negative text message tomorrow, I kind of don't even want to hear it.
Okay.
Like, it's because this team's going to win 90-plus games. And I understand, come playoff time, there are concerns about roster construction and lineup and all that kind of stuff. But that is, when's October? 7 months from now?
I think so. Same spot as most years.
Yeah, I don't think they've moved it. Let me check.
6 plus.
There's a lot going on in D.C. right now. I'm not sure if they moved October.
That's the thing. I don't know. They might change it. Who knows? But
I don't know.
Like, why are we worried about something 6 months from now when this team is going to win as many games as it's going to? And then you just hope that they get hot at the right time. That's all. That was the Dodgers 2 years ago when their half their batting order batted below 200 for a series. Like, getting hot at the right time is not just a Phillies thing. The only problem for the Phillies, as I said to you guys yesterday, is the way the lineup is constructed because they are so booming.
I got the perfect analogy, and we'll use Connor for it. That is the perfect analogy for you to be able to figure this all out, folks. If the hottest woman in Hollywood, is that Sydney Sweeney you like?
She's a one seed.
Connor, Sydney Sweeney rolls into garage one night, and she's totally taken with you.
I have a heart attack. I'm going to need Eddie to come out and save me.
Eddie Alderson is going to have to save you.
But
Okay,
yes.
So here's the deal. And for until October, you and her are going to be an item. But someone tells you her history, she's going to dump you. She's going to totally dump you. One day she's just going to ghost you. She's going to dump you.
Best 6 months of your life, Connor.
Damn right.
You're going to enjoy the 6 months.
Hell yeah,
absolutely.
You're not going to worry about October. Sydney Sweeney's in garage, and she's saying, "I'd like you to take me home." Come on.
And look,
dreamed of
where
this
are these
day.
based off of these power rankings, because again, the national media likes the Phillies a lot more than their own fans. They are the Sydney Sweeney, right? They're
right there.
They're behind the Dodgers.
Not for me. She wouldn't be a 1 seed for me. But
all
that's
right, so she's a 2 seed, right behind the Dodgers. All right, we'll continue the Phillies discussion. We'll get some more text messages, but the Eagles. So Dave Zangaro, I like this. Dave Zangaro did a piece yesterday for NBC Sports Philadelphia. The best and worst case scenarios for each of the additions in free agency. Now, I'll spare you like Kenyon Green, who was a part of the trade for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. But we'll start with Azeez Ojulari. Here's what he writes for the best case. Ojulari, who won't turn 25 until June, has a productive season and really bolsters the Eagles' edge rusher group. He fortifies a unit led by Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt and becomes a starter and a 3-down player. Ojulari is able to stay healthy for the first time in years and finally plays a full season for the first time since 2021 when he had a career-high 8 sacks as a rookie. It's unfair to think his best-case scenario will be a Pro Bowl-type season, but staying healthy and producing would be a huge win. And I think that is very, very logical.
I think it's very doable.
Yeah.
I think it's very doable. I'm high on the Ojulari pick. I love that they went out and got him. I thought it was great.
And when it first happened, nobody was saying you got Myles Garrett or Max Crosby. You're saying you got another rotational body, a talented rotational piece. Like it's not like they just got a guy.
I don't believe the 3-down stuff. That was a little much. I mean, but
it was a best case scenario.
He's capable. If everything went great, so I think that took it a little far, but I'm all in.
Now, obviously, the worst case scenario is he can't stay healthy, and then that edge rusher that you relied on is not on the field.
Yes.
So that's Ojulari.
So again, when you're making injury, I don't make any preseason predictions based on injury. I always assume Dodgers are going to be healthy. The Packers are going to be healthy. The Eagles are going to be healthy. You can't make preseason.
I know, but when
he's not a guy.
When there's a track record.
Yeah, but he's not a track record of a guy being. He's not Joel Embiid.
Right, I got
this
you.
This is a guy who plays a ton of games. So I mean, come on now.
You do have to have the conversation, though. Remember, you've brought up Saquon Barkley and what happens to running backs after high usage years. He's
And
not a huge track record guy for
Just
that.
be ready to miss time with those running backs.
Right.
It happened.
Now, speaking of backs, A.J. Dillon. I'll just tell you, worst case scenario is once again just the neck injury's not fully healed, and
Right.
A, it's not just he can't run well. It's B, they're worried that there could be more of a health risk for the guy. So that's the worst case scenario. But the best case scenario is that he's a productive number 2 back behind Saquon Barkley. Take some of the load off of the offensive player of the year. Dillon at age 27 doesn't show any of the effects of missing last year and is actually fresh without the year of wear and tear. He finds a role as a backup, rotational piece, and perhaps even 2-minute or goal line back in the Eagles offense. And if Barkley misses time, Dillon is able to fill in adequately. I love these because these aren't like A.J. Dillon's going to rush for 1,200 yards. Like, no, it's just he's going to be a very good number 2 back. Now, by Dave Zangaro's writing, he thinks a little bit differently than our own Andrew DeCecco. Because DeCecco thinks that Shipley's ready to take the lead as the number 2 back.
He does.
Whereas in this, it almost feels like Dave Zangaro goes with the A.J. Dillon side of it.
Yeah, I believe Shipley will be 3. I don't believe they brought A.J. Dillon in here to be the backup to Will Shipley. I just don't.
Right.
Yeah, unless it's a Rashad Penny situation.
Which I
Oh,
don't,
no.
I don't see happening.
No, I'm with you. He's the 2 in my mind.
All right, I'll give you one more. I'll give you Josh Uche because he's a guy where you're kind of like, all right, what has this guy got? Because he's had a successful season. He had 11 and a half sacks a couple of years ago. So here's the best case scenario. Like Ojulari, Uche helps bolster the edge rusher group with Smith and Hunt leading the way. He provides the type of depth the Eagles need, especially if Bryce Huff either gets traded or if he continues to struggle to find his footing in Vic Fangio's defense. It's unfair to think that Uche will be a starter or that he'll duplicate his 11.5 sack season in 2022, but his ceiling could be as a veteran depth piece who picks up a few sacks and provides good snaps off the bench. Now, the worst case scenario, the Chiefs were onto something when they didn't play him almost at all in the second half of last season. And, that's why other guys took over.
Okay.
So I think these are all fair.
I think they're fair. They're fair. I think that I don't believe with Azeez Ojulari there is any reason to be like, oh, man, he's just going to be – this guy's a broken down piece of –
No, I don't think so.
I'm worried about A.J. Dillon a little bit, but we'll see it. We'll see it play out.
Yeah, because
That's
the
a
next
serious thing.
Yeah.
And we don't want to –
Britton Covey, we never saw him again last year once that neck injury happened.
And then I'm drawing a blank on the guy that was with us for a couple years. Jordan Howard.
Stinger. Yeah.
And it just never
happened. Yeah, never happened again. All right, what do we got on the text line? Anything still coming in about our Fightin' Phils?
Absolutely. There are people chiming in on the Fightin' Phils. And Anthony D says the reason people are negative on the Phillies right now, it's because subconsciously everyone is down that football is over. It mainly has to do with the Eagles. We just won the Super Bowl, but that also means football is 6 months away. So that kills the buzz for baseball season when you're so excited about the football
Why?
team.
Baseball is its own entity. At least in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
I don't allow the waves of other teams to impact the other team. I don't.
I don't either.
They're their own entity.
Because the Sixers, if you allowed the Sixers to affect your Flyers, your Phillies, your Eagles,
right,
you're in hell.
And oh, by the way, did you allow the Eagles to affect your Sixers? Were you having fun watching the Sixers because the Eagles were playing well at the time? No, I was not enjoying any second of the Sixers this season.
Not at all.
That's actually kind of sad. There wasn't a moment, except for right before the All-Star break when Embiid came back and played some good games. You're like, all right, maybe.
The McCain stretch of 20-plus point games is pretty cool.
Yeah.
McCain was a funny story.
Yeah.
And it was fun and it's exciting, and I'm looking forward to it in the future.
Right.
It's an exciting story.
Just another injury that this team sustained. These damn legs, man.
And no TikTok dances where he gets hurt. Don't want him to get hurt doing TikTok.
I don't think you have to worry. He's a professional TikToker,
man. He's
not
killing
getting
it.
hurt. All right, we'll continue to check our text messages at 610-632-0975. Why has been the majority of conversation negative about this Phillies team as we are one day away from opening day? Tomorrow's going to be a fun, high-spirited show. So let's try to get it out of the way now. Let's use the next couple of hours to figure out what it is, and maybe we can help people. We have been trying to do that. We've given you positive guarantees. We talked about the Mets being way too overhyped. So hopefully there's other ways we could try to make you feel better about the upcoming Philly season. We were the beacons of light for the Eagles going into the 2024 season. Let's not rewrite the history books. We got crushed
Correct.
for being positive. I remember saying 12 wins. You said 12 wins. Connor said 12 wins, and we got crushed for saying 12 wins.
Haley would tell us every day the YouTube chat was too positive.
Too positive. Oh,
Sunshine and lollipops.
Yeah. And then the second we are critical about the Eagles during the season, it's you guys are always hating, blah, 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 blah. Make up your minds, damn it. Be positive about the Phillies. Coming up next, we'll also take a quick break from the Phillies. Before we talk to Schefter at 7:55, John and I both agree that there is too much of something in sports. And it happened again last night. We'll tell you what next here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
The Philadelphia 76ers.
Sixers win! Play that song!
The Philadelphia.
On this Wednesday morning, which means 15 minutes from now, Adam Schefter will be joining the show. Always love our weekly conversations with Schefter. I missed him last week when I was on vacation. What you guys get into with Schefter last week? Because it was kind of the first week where it was more
can't-
quiet.
Dude, I can't remember.
We just talk crap about you.
Okay,
I can't remember what I honestly, what I did yesterday afternoon sometimes.
That's good.
Let alone what.
Hi, I'm Andrew.
What we talked to the. Yeah, I like you. I'm like Dory at times.
You need me to show you to the lavatory, sir?
It is. It is shocking. It is shocking because one of the things that we track with the doctors with the chemo regimen I did.
Yeah.
They don't know all the side effects because a lot of people haven't done it, so they always ask you about the things. And the memory thing has been weird.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember stuff that happened during that entire time.
Yes.
Like, honestly, that entire time I don't remember stuff.
So we talked about the BG retirement because it was
Yes.
the day after. We talked about the edge rusher signings because Uche and Ojolari were just right before that. So got into a little bit of what could be next. And that was right after McClain told us there could be another sizable move at edge rusher. So we also talked about the Trayvon Walker thing, which he kind of didn't really give us a lot on.
Right.
So
It was early.
yeah. He was also in the middle of the Rodgers being out on Minnesota, or Minnesota being out on him broke.
Yeah, like
while
honestly,
we were on
I'm
the
going to
air
ask
with him,
Schefter
so.
about, like, what the hell are the Giants doing?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, no, that's what we got to ask. That's first question. then.
why are you trying to get Russell, or why are you getting Russell Wilson? It makes
They're just trying to save their jobs. They're trying. That is a Hail Mary
All right,
pass.
if you're a GM,
That's a Hail Mary pass.
you're a GM.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you rather go into the office of the owner with a plan where you go, look, this is a 2-year plan. Russell Wilson does nothing for us. So we're going to draft the quarterback. We'll let him sit behind Jameis. We're going to lose games this year. We're just going to have to deal with that. And then we will have a high draft capital to acquire an offensive line. Our defense is already pretty good. Not great, pretty good. We got bones. They do have bones on that Giants defense. We just need to kick the can down the road one year.
They will. They're first of all, they're not going to get 2 years. They're not going to get a 2-year plan. They're all in the hot seat, so they're not getting 2 years.
Yeah, because of their own previous
because
mistakes.
of their nonsense.
Still.
You don't get he doesn't get to go in now and go. Now I got a 2-year plan.
But like, if you're John Mara, right? Like, I'm thinking about the owner of the Giants. Like, why are you allowing any of this?
Well, the one argument for it is they have to draft a quarterback this year because even if Jameis starts, like, Jameis is going to win them 5 or 6 games. They're not going to be the number 1 overall pick. With the defense they have with Malik Neighbors, with Jameis, like, he'll win them enough. I think it's a sneaky good quarterback development room because Russell Wilson has a wealth of knowledge. Been to the Super Bowl twice, 10-time Pro Bowler. Like, he stinks now, but he remembers what it takes to be a good quarterback in this league. The only thing is he's a weirdo. And Jameis Winston is one of the more likable guys that could be in a QB room. So you have the human element with Winston. You have the knowledge with Russ. And if you add a young quarterback to the room, that's not a bad 2 guys to have work with the dude.
Thing is, Russell did not have the reputation in Denver, did not have the reputation in Seattle, and that to be a guy who wants to work with younger quarterbacks and tutor them, he thinks he's still the man.
Right, and that's why Jameis is there. Because Jameis will work with everybody.
I mean, I think it's a dysfunctional mess.
I'm reaching here.
Yeah,
I think it's a dysfunctional mess.
Major reach.
But
I get what you're saying.
That's
but no,
gotta
you're
be the
right there.
plan.
Jameis is beloved as the person that he is. People do find him very charming and everything.
Yeah.
But the Browns made I had to pull it up for you. The Browns made no effort to keep him.
Oh, well, yeah.
They did not consider him. They did not consider him. The loss in the locker room.
They got Kenny
was
Pickett,
not going to be.
They
replaced him with Kenny.
Super Bowl winning quarterback, Kenny
Damn
Pickett.
right, man.
I think that helped.
All right, yesterday, outside of Philadelphia, the Golden State Warriors played the Miami Heat in Miami last night, which meant it was the return of one Jimmy Butler to Miami.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler's 9th team.
The strip
This
clubs
was
were happy.
James Butler.
Yeah, they were happy.
Does he do that? I thought he's more of he's a coffee shop guy.
Yeah.
His own coffee shop.
Coffee shop, yeah.
So he gets back to Miami. And I understand they had success with Jimmy Butler. They made the incredible run as the 8th seed.
They had
to
multiple
the
trips to
NBA
Eastern
Finals.
Conference. They had an NBA Finals, had an Eastern Conference Finals with him.
So last night,
Imagine if Joel did that sometime.
Yeah. Last night they did the tribute video for Jimmy Butler. Now,
Why?
if he left in free agency and this was his first game back, totally get it. But the dude was bad-mouthing your organization.
He destroyed the season. He quit on his team. He refused to play. He refused to go on road trips. He sunk their season. They trade him, and they go on a 10-game losing streak, sinking their season where they were the 5 seed or 6
You're going
seed.
tribute video?
Tribute video to that jackass?
Absolutely.
No. Not when the teammates who he screwed over, Connor, are still on the team.
I got you.
And they got to watch that. And the fans booed it, by the way. And the fans booed him when he came out.
I heard that he got cheers.
No, there were
He got some cheers and a
there
lot
was
of
a lot of boos.
Yeah.
And they
Okay.
were booing him during the game.
Yeah, now here's the thing. You're right with what he did to this year's team, but the tribute video comes from the organization. I know he talked trash on the organization.
Yeah, he ripped the
Listen,
organization.
how about the-
Let me make the point. All right? He led them to 2 NBA finals, 3 conference finals appearances, 2 which he won, 2-time All-Star there being the lead dog on that team. Like, if that dude's not getting a tribute video, no one's getting a tribute
How about
video.
the end of your career you get one?
Well, here's
when
the
you
deal.
have Jimmy Butler night to honor him at some point if you mend fences. He screwed over that fan base. Those people who paid all that money to have their Heat season tickets,
Yeah.
he literally said, here, middle finger to all of you.
Yeah.
I don't care what you are. I don't care about you.
And if you're a Heat fan and you don't like Jimmy Butler because of that, you are 100% within your right to not like the guy. But he did a bunch for that
But
organization.
why is the organization? You don't have to do it now. Do it at Jimmy Butler night when he retires.
Yeah, Jimmy-
He screwed over this team.
I
Those
gotcha.
guys. Did you watch the video? The guys watching the video. If you get a chance, if
Yeah,
you can see
I'm
it.
not talking
The guys
about
on
the
the
players.
Miami Heat looking up and watching that video. They're like, seriously, you're doing this. You're doing this in front of us, in front of Eric Spoelstra, who he screwed over.
I got you.
All right,
I mean, it's terrible.
What was the worst look? I don't know if you guys ever got into it during headlines, but when I was going, the Draymond Green situation.
We did not
with
do
Cat.
Draymond Green.
All right, so you have the Miami Heat doing a tribute video for Jimmy Butler where the whole team's pissed off by it, probably. Or Draymond Green, do you remember when he basically said Cat ducked somebody because he's Cat, and it ended up being his friend passed
yeah.
away, and then Draymond did not walk back his comments. He was like, well, that's just what I heard, when it was incorrect, and it was a horrible thing to say. After the Warriors played the Knicks, a lot of Cat's teammates dapped up Draymond Green after the game.
Which is terrible.
That's a horrible look when the guy goes on a podcast, insinuates that a guy ducked somebody. Turns out one of his best friends died tragically and went to the funeral, and that's why he missed the
that's
game.
what he did.
Like, that's what it actually was. And then the teammates proceed to dap up Draymond after the game comes to an end. And I don't think Draymond played that night.
No, he didn't.
So it's not like, hey, good game, good game, good game. It was like they went up to him all smiles. What's the worst look?
That's a bad look.
Yeah, it doesn't look great.
That's a
optically.
really bad look.
I think Knicks is worse. The
No, I
teammates-
think it's worse. Yeah, that's worse.
At least
God, that's terrible.
At least the Knicks are the 3 seed. Must be nice. All right, coming up next.
I can't believe they're the 3 seed.
Yeah, they're a good basketball team. I can believe it.
I don't like how they're built. We'll see what happens.
I think
in the
they'll be
playoffs.
dangerous come playoff time, even though the Celtics and Cavs are like the
I don't
clear
think,
top
I don't think
two
they got the
teams.
scoring to do it.
Yeah, well, they got
We'll
the
see.
they got the defense though. All right, coming up next, Adam Schefter on this Wednesday morning. Can't wait to talk to Schefty. What the hell are the New York Giants doing? We should celebrate it here as Eagles fans. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Will the Eagles deal Dallas? I'm Connor Thomas, and the Birds have quieted down a little bit on the offseason front as of late, but the next big domino to fall could be a trade of Dallas Goedert for cap relief. We've talked about it on these airwaves. It's been a hot topic with reporters, but Jeff McClain of the Inquirer joined us yesterday to talk about the chances for him to stay with the Birds.
I heard there was a chance that he was going to go. That hasn't happened yet. But look, I see a path for him to be back here. It's just going to be dependent upon what he's willing to take in terms of a restructure.
We'll keep an eye on the Dallas Goedert situation if anything occurs there. The Eagles did make a signing, adding Kendall Lamb, a swing tackle that will add to their offensive line depth. The 10-year vet was with the Dolphins last year. In division, the Giants have signed Russell Wilson, adding him to their quarterback room with Jameis Winston. We'll talk to Adam Schefter of ESPN coming up next about that and some Eagles stuff. We're just one day away from Phil's opening day. They're taking on the Nationals tomorrow. First pitch at 4:05. Flyers fell to the Maple Leafs 7-2 last night. They're off this evening. Sixers host the Wizards at 7 p.m. That game you can hear live live here on The Fanatic, and it's also our knockout tournament. This update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. Their instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Philadelphia Union Soccer. Cleared away by Dasha. Oh, he's gone.
Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. As you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN and WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. It is a Wednesday, so that means we will be joined momentarily by our man Adam Schefter from ESPN. It's amazing. During the commercial break, I look at my phone and I have a missed call from my wife, who's at work.
Okay, everything okay?
Which means Cooper's at daycare. It was just a butt dial.
Oh.
But you
now,
get
butt
it.
dial, does she keep the phone in her pants?
I don't know.
I always wanted the term butt dial.
I guess, or maybe her fingers slipped and touched the call button. But it's amazing how when you're a parent,
the panic that comes over you.
Like, I'm like, why is she calling me? She knows I'm, especially our job. Like,
right.
She knows I'm on the air. She didn't know that I was on commercial, right? Like, she doesn't know our clocks. She's not following our break schedule.
Christina doesn't listen.
Yeah, well, neither does my wife, so we got something in common there. But it's amazing how immediately when you see a call, when you're not expecting it, you start freaking out. So it's unbelievable. All right, we'll be joined by Schefter here momentarily. I can't wait to get his opinions on what the Giants are doing with Russell Wilson, because to me it makes no sense other than just, to your point, John, like just being let's be desperate and let's hope something happens.
I just don't. I'm so excited for the start of the season. I can't wait tomorrow. I'm very there's so much things, and then people are desperate in any sport, whether it's Eagles off season. I want to know now. I want to know what the Eagles are going to be now. I got to know today what the Eagles are going to look like on September 4th. I don't need to know that. I don't need to go back at your favorite restaurant, whatever it is. I don't need to go back and watch the chef prepare my meal. I'll eat it when it comes to the table.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll eat it when it comes to the table.
Enjoy your cocktail until it gets there.
And I'll say, man, that was a great meal.
Right, exactly. And that's what this Philly season.
And the Philly season, same thing. I mean, it's like I don't need to know what October's going to be. I want to know, though, that they script a different story for me during the regular season.
Yeah, and we'll be able to tell that. We'll be able to see if they go through these same slogs that we've been used to over the last couple of years. All right, we got our man. Let's go to the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business get you ready for what's next. He's brought to us by Landis Block. Create your very own jaw-dropping backyard paradise online at landisbc.com. From ESPN, our man Adam Schefter joins us. Schefty, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are we doing today?
We're doing well.
We're trying to figure out what the hell the New York Giants are doing. And I celebrate it, being an Eagles fan, and I'm feeling pretty comfortable saying the Eagles are already 2-0. What are the Giants doing signing Russell Wilson?
Well, the cost is not very high. It's $10.5 million guaranteed for 1 year. And you're talking about a team that a week ago, the only quarterback on its roster was Tommy DeVito. So I think the way they're looking at it is, okay, we signed Jameis, we signed Russell. We'd like to try to get a quarterback in this draft who we like. Whether or not they can do that or not still remains to be seen. If they can't get one, they have Russell and Jameis. Now, if they can get one, I still think they will draft the guy that they love if he's available. And if not, they feel like they've done the best they can at this point in time to try to solidify the position.
Yeah, but solidifying the position gets you around 500, and now all of a sudden you don't have a top draft pick, and you're in trouble next year.
And it's a better quarterback draft next year.
Okay, but you've guys fighting for their jobs. What do you want them to do?
I want them to do what's best for the organization, long term.
Okay. So I believe they're doing that. You know what's best for the long term is not
Adam. If they draft Shedeur Sanders with the third pick in this draft, they're going onto a car lot and saying, "I got $100,000 here," and they're walking off with a hybrid. They're not getting the top of the line car that's $100,000. They're getting an economical car, a potential good car, but they're way overpaying for it.
Well, you know what? What I would say to that is this: last year, there were people that would have said that Denver is spending $100,000 on that kind of car for Bo Nix, and they were wrong.
What was his? Where did he go in the draft, though?
12.
He went 12. If it's 12, I'd take Shedeur Sanders at 12. I think that's about. But I'm not taking him at 3.
But John, if there's a quarterback you like and he hits, if Shedeur Sanders is a good player It doesn't matter to me whether they get him at 3 or 12. If you get a good quarterback, it doesn't matter. 9 slots in the draft. Come on.
Wow. I think moving from 3 to 12 in the draft, you could get a lot of draft capital. You could probably get a future number one. So that does matter.
Hold on.
Okay.
Now we're operating under the assumption, which we don't know, that they happen to really like Shedeur Sanders. Let's use that theory, okay? Let's use the theory that they really like Shedeur Sanders, and they're not prepared to spend the price it takes at 3. They want to get extra draft picks, okay? They want to try to do that. What if the second – we all agree right now that Shedeur is the second quarterback in this draft. Do we agree with that right now or not?
I think it's a possibility. Yeah, he's in that discussion, absolutely.
Okay, how about this? Let's say you like Shedeur and you like him way more than Jackson Dart. And maybe some people like Jackson Dart more, Tyler Shuck more, whoever. Let's just call it that they like Shedeur Sanders, and they trade back to 12 to get extra picks, and Shedeur Sanders goes 7 to the Jets, or 6 to the Raiders, or 9 to the Saints, and you just picked up a couple of extra 3s or whatever it was, an extra 2s to move back to 12, and you lost your quarterback. Like,
going from I got you, but going from 3 to 12, you're not picking up a couple 3s. You're picking up a future. You're picking up a future 1 to do something like that.
Okay, fine. You got your future 1, and you just lost your quarterback. Okay, and if you lost your quarterback, it doesn't matter whatever extra. Like I remember Denver last year.
You better not be speeding. Looks like they're chasing you down.
No. I got my 2 dogs. I got my 2 dogs in the back seat. We let my daughter drive to school. I had a heart attack 2 times along the way.
Oh my God!
This is nice and calm now. Coming back with the 2 dogs not barking, their heads out the window.
There we go.
Okay, so last year I'll go back to Denver again and Bo next because I know before the draft Denver talked about moving back a few slots to New Orleans slot to see if they could get an extra 2 or 3. Not a 1, but an extra 2 or 3. Wiggle back. That was the term that was used to me. We're thinking about wiggling back and getting an extra pick. And we were talking about it. I talked about it with them. And at the time, I wondered, I'm like, oh, boy. Like, they're going to wiggle back, and they're going to risk losing the guy that they really like at quarterback. But let's see if they do it. And then I remember once Michael Penix went number 8, the conversation in the Broncos war room shifted from whether they should wiggle back to whether they should wiggle up in the draft. Okay? So that's how quickly things change. But the fact of the matter is, if you like a quarterback, I don't care whether you're taking him at 3 or 12, you're taking that guy. If you like him that much to take him in the first. If you don't, then don't. Then don't spend the $100,000 on the car lot. I like that analogy. Don't get a new car. Go take a trip to Paris. Go book multiple trips. Go buy a house. Go buy a boat. Whatever you want to do.
Or get a retread in Russell Wilson like we go down the Jersey Shore every single summer.
Could very well be.
If that works for you as well, fine. But what they've done is right now is, they're trying to win games. They're embarrassed last year. Obviously, with everything that went on, the way their season unfolded, the way it went with Saquon and Philly, like they're trying to win games. There aren't that many quarterbacks available, so they signed 2 of them. They didn't invest all that much money in the quarterback when you're talking quarterbacks. So they got 2 guys who have been experienced, who have been productive, whether you like them or not. The Eagles at one point in time, I know he's not in the prime of his career anymore, but he does have a point to prove. So we'll see. They're rolling the dice on those guys with the hope still that they can get who they want in the draft, which we'll see whether they do that or not.
Speaking of the draft, last year it was 14 picks. Pick 15 was the first defensive player off the board. I know the obsession with offense in today's NFL. Do you expect it to be like that in this upcoming draft? I know there's a lot of good defensive tackles. I can't imagine 14 straight offensive players this year.
No. I don't see that. I mean, it's not going to happen. Like we got Abdul Carter in there. I'm trying to think of the other top defensive picks. I'm living in a quarterback obsessed world, but it's just not going to happen that way. We got some offensive tackles that'll go high, tight ends that'll go high, running backs that may go high. Yeah, there'll be a lot of offensive players picked, but it's not going to be a streak like that again.
I love last week. Something Andrew asked me earlier. What's something Adam said last week? And I just remembered it. The idea that a player taken at 10, you're hearing from people, could be a guy who's taken at 30 or 35.
By the way, I was talking to a couple of different GMs this week, and I said, give me some thoughts on the draft, and we're talking. I said, hey, I had a couple of people mention, is that right? They're like, yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm like, okay, so it's not one person that said it to me. It's multiple people that have said something similar that all have a similar belief that the player that you get at 10 is the same kind of player you get at 32, and that really the Eagles may be picking a player at 32 that just as easily could have gone number 12.
We always hear that it's a copycat league. And obviously right now, Howie Roseman going to 3 Super Bowls in 8 seasons and winning 2 of them. His plan, do you hear people around the league saying, let's copy it? Let's try to do something. What are the Eagles doing? And if they're not, why don't they?
Well, what do you want them
Cap management, the strategy that they use with that, and how many owners are willing to do the kind of things that Jeffrey Lurie's willing to do with the upfront cash.
Yeah, well, I would say this, that the Eagles have been doing it for a long time. Like, it started way back in the day with Joe Banner, getting out in front of these guys. But, you need coaches to identify which players you want to keep and sign long term, and how much you want to invest, and all those things. Like it's a collaborative process with everybody, and I don't know that absolutely teams are looking at them and studying them. I don't know that it's simple to just copy them and say, okay, we're going to copy them and do it this way. Like I don't think it works like that. I don't think it's so. I think it's easier said than done, to me, John, personally.
Sure. All right. Fair enough. Shefty, listen, man, we appreciate the time as always. Before you know, we'll be getting deeper into the draft and the second wave of free agency.
From tomorrow.
Unbelievable. The league that never sleeps. I hope you're getting some rest right now as you continue to be on Rodgers' watch.
Yeah, yesterday we had a half-hour stretch, like Russell Wilson, Stephon Diggs. That was a pretty busy stretch yesterday afternoon.
Hey, let's roll. We're very happy here in Philly.
Yeah,
we're
very happy.
Well, you know what? Again, you can make.
We make lots of jokes about the Giants.
Yeah, well, the Giants maybe should have found their quarterback last year. They tried to get up to 3 and couldn't do it. They tried, and then this year, I gotta review it. But didn't they win that game against the Colts? It would cost them a top pick.
Yeah, it did.
So I guess they're enjoying that victory over the Colts this morning, which you have to try to do. Blame them, but it knocked them out of the spot they needed to be in to get Cam Ward.
That's their self-preservation mode.
Such a damn shame, man.
It is. It's terrible. We got one tear dropping down our face.
Shefty, we appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys, have a great week. Thank you,
buddy.
There he's Adam Schefter on the Comcast Business Hotline, brought to us by Landis Block. Create your very own jaw-dropping backyard paradise online at landisbc.com. All right, coming up next, we have today's headlines with Connor Thomas. And around 8:25, ESPN did their deep dive for every team in Major League Baseball heading into the 2025 season. We'll go through what they said about the Philadelphia Phillies. They have their projected record, playoff odds, World Series odds, you name it. Like a little geek out session with the Phillies coming up around 8:25. As tomorrow is opening day in Major League Baseball.
You got your fit all planned or what?
No.
No?
I'll figure it out.
At like 4 in the morning?
Yeah. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
We want to hear from you.
So text us at 610. Oh, Nature Valley Bar?
On Nature Valley
They're
Bar.
delicious.
I think I can get them for you at Costco.
Yeah.
I think I've seen them at Costco, and they have the big boxes.
I don't eat until after I exercise. Every day. I don't eat until like 11:30. Today I was hungry. And so they were right there in the vending machine.
So there it was.
And it was delightful.
That is
I'm very happy. By the way, thank you again, Adam Schefter. That was a good conversation.
It was a lot of fun with everything good. Always fun.
The Giants.
The Giants are a mess.
I don't know. Like, I get it. He's like, Schefty's trying to be like, look, they want to try to find ways to be better than last year.
And
that doesn't mean anything for the future, though.
And to me, if I'm a Giants fan, I'm pissed off at that.
Yeah.
I don't want my team worried about making the general manager look good or making the head coach look good. I want a plan that is going to sell me on the future that, guess what, I'm doing the best I can for the future of the franchise. And I think the best for them is not to take Shedeur Sanders in the top 3 picks of the draft.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's nonsense.
And you may be right, but you understand why individuals do that. Like Joe Shane.
Yeah, it's self-preservation, but the thing is, if I'm the boss, Connor, I don't want that. I don't care. Look, his GM and his coach, they're expendable. He owns a $10 billion business.
Yeah.
He doesn't. I don't want them to worry about their agenda.
But that's the thing. You build for the future, you lose your job. You build for now, you might save your job, but the team won't be as good. Like, either way, you're kind of, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't.
I think you could sell them on a great plan. I think you could sell them on taking the best player in the draft, position player, and saying, we're going to try. We have a defense that's looking good right now. We're going to add to that defense. And we're going to start getting after creating a killer defense that will nurse us through a year with Russell Wilson. And then next year, we're going to be in a position with one of the top picks in the draft.
Yeah, I got you. I'm not saying it's the only way to do it. Like, that plan absolutely could work. The thing is, you've seen it over and over and over in the NFL. Lame duck GMs will go out and get quarterbacks that they can win with now over what's better for the team because they want to save their own ass.
I just can't believe they all saved their jobs after last year, but, whatever.
I can't believe
go
it
Birds.
either.
Time
Go
now for today's
Birds.
headlines with Connor Thomas.
Today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
What we got?
Oh, first we got a sponsor, all right? Let's not move on from our friends from Lundy Law because for over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name Lundy Law, your injury lawyers. Visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com.
Thank you, Lundies.
They're the best. Now,
The best, Jerry, the best.
speaking of the best, he's never going to have the title of the great one, but Alex Ovechkin is drawing even closer to the all-time goals mark in the NHL. Here's the call from his latest that put him 6 away.
Nice pass. Ovechkin scores! Alex Ovechkin, 889. Washington 2-all.
Have you guys been watching this? I know we've kind of quasi had this conversin before about history.
Yeah, I've been paying attention because I like history. I do. Like the Shohei Ohtani 50-50 Club last year. I'm a fan of history. When it comes to sports, I'm not really good at my U.S. history.
See, now I'm going to go to the Smithsonian American History Museum this weekend.
Where's
on
the
Sunday.
Smithsonian sports history?
I don't think there is one.
Because I'll go to that one.
We should start.
I think you're looking for Cooperstown, buddy.
I'm locked in on this, and I think he very well could get it. I mean, when he came back from his injury, his severe broken leg, and just started lighting the lamp right away. Like, this dude is ridiculous. And 6 goals in, I think they have 14 games left. Could very well be done because he could go on a stretch where he lights the lamp in 3 or 4 straight games, and sometimes it's with more than 1 goal.
Yeah, and the team is good, too. That's the thing. It's not like they're a bottom-of-the-barrel hockey team that's just giving the puck to Ovechkin every time down the ice. Like, they're a good team.
They scored 6 goals the other day, and he didn't have one of them.
Yeah, so it's something that if you're not watching and you're a big hockey fan, you should have your eyes on that.
By the way,
with remainder of the
11
season.
games left for the Caps this year.
And they're a great story. Do you know this date last year, they were behind the Thrashers, the Flyers in the standings?
Yeah,
by a point.
Listen, man.
And they're the number 1 team in the NHL this year.
Credit to them.
Right there.
We'll be back there one day, boys. All right, so we have a lot of people in free agency that when they sign contracts with new teams, they say, well, I always wanted to be here, or I love this about the organization. Pharaoh Brown, great name, by the way, signed with the Miami Dolphins. He's a tight end.
Okay.
And he was asked about why he decided to go to Miami, and he gave a refreshingly candid answer.
The opportunity kind of attracted me, man. What they say, sometimes beggars can't be choosers. Oh man, that's hilarious.
Beggars can't be choosers. I mean, that's about as clear and honest as you can get. Now, it was a little tongue-in-cheek from him, but I respect that he's kind of just saying, I'm Pharaoh Brown, and I got to go where someone's going to pay me.
Yeah, look, he got a job,
Yeah,
and it's in Miami. No sales tax.
it's about getting a job, right?
Yeah.
Do you wish more players would do that? Come out and be honest and be like, I had nowhere else to go, so I'm glad I'm still playing professional whatever.
Why not? How about you can word it differently than that, Connor.
Yeah.
But you can say, I'm going to prove it. I'm going to prove that they ended up making the best decision when somebody else didn't.
Yeah, just say the Miami Dolphins took a shot on me. I'm gonna prove them right.
There
That
you go.
would probably bother me if I was a Dolphins fan, what he said. But from the outside, it's definitely humorous.
Yeah, but
and-
he's like their second string. It's not like they brought him in to be a star.
Yeah, but if Grant Calcaterra was just like, I don't really love it here. I just kind of can't choose anywhere to go because I'm Grant Calcaterra. I'd be like, hey, that.
Well, he didn't say that he
a little
doesn't
more
like it.
confidence.
He didn't say that he didn't like it.
No,
there.
I got you.
He's just saying beggars can't be choosers.
He's not wrong.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Connor.
We'll round out with the replay.
Why does it feel like the majority of the talking points going into this season are more negative than positive?
I really think it comes down to that emotional thing, man. I think we're fighting a war with the fan base. The logical side says it's a good team. The emotional side, which is more powerful, says I've been hurt 3 years and I don't want to do that. And we're going to be fighting this battle all year with the Phils.
It could be a very long season in terms of conversation. It could be. And that's kind of disappointing because they're going to be really good and you're going to get the wake me up when.
I'm going to tell you the wake me up person. I know you sort of alluded to it earlier. I am going to just tune them out. I have to.
Yeah.
Just my own mental health.
All right, well, we said it earlier. The national media loves the Phillies. ESPN did a deep dive of all 30 baseball teams and what to expect in the 2025 season for them. We'll go through what they wrote about the Phillies and how high up they have them among other teams. Remember, 3 power rankings we gave you this morning. The Phillies were second in 2 of them and third in 1 of them. And yet, if you talk to a Phillies fan, not all Phillies fans, but a lot of Phillies fans, it's a negative attitude going into the season. And that's the question we have today. Why is it more negative surrounding the Phillies than positive going into what should be another successful season of Phillies baseball? Answer that question for us at 610-632-0975. We'll check the text line, and then we'll get to this season preview from ESPN next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Another student at Stoutland U. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles have added to their offensive line depth, bringing in Kendall Lamb. Now, he's not necessarily a freshman at Stoutland University. He's a 10-year vet in the NFL. He'll be a swing tackle for the Birds, formerly with the Dolphins. He comes to town on a 1-year deal. That's a minor move, though. The next big domino to fall could be a trade of Dallas Goedert for cap relief for the Birds. It's been a hot topic as the offseason progressed. Well, Jeff McClain of the Inquirer joined us yesterday to talk about the path to him staying here in Philadelphia.
You know, I heard there was a chance that he was going to go. That hasn't happened yet. But look, I see a path for him to be back here. It's just going to be dependent upon what he's willing to take in terms of a restructure.
We'll keep you updated on that situation as the offseason continues. In division, the Giants have signed Russell Wilson, adding him to their quarterback room with Jameis Winston. We're just 1 day away from Phil's opening day as they're set to take on the Nationals. First pitch will be tomorrow at 4:05 with Zach Wheeler towing the rubber against Mackenzie Gore. Flyers fell to the Maple Leafs 7-2 last night. They're off this evening. The Sixers will be at the Wells Fargo Center hosting the Wizards tonight. Tip off 7 p.m. You can hear the game live here on The Fanatic. It's also our knockout tournament. So if you're getting tickets to that, come on by. This update's brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app today. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Philadelphia Sports.
Touchdown!
97.5 The Fanatic. All right, let's check the text line first because I want to see if we've gotten any more negative or positive or just answers to the question. The question today is, why does it seem like the majority of talking points going into this Phillies season have a negative tone attached to it, despite the team projected to win 90-plus games as long as everybody stays healthy? And every national media publication or website has the Phillies as one of the top 5 teams in baseball. And yet, locally, it's, but what happens come October? What do the people say?
All right, so we have a check-in here. Stan from Yardley says, the Phillies haven't been choking. A lot of us just don't want to get ripped off again, knowing there's a strong possibility it can happen again based on the last 3 years. They haven't done enough with the roster to make us think otherwise.
I don't understand the idea of getting ripped off. Like, I've got tickets to, I'll take the family down. We're going to go down to a game in June against the Mets. So we'll do the family game at the Mets. We got another one my wife and I going down to in August. Mm-hmm. Like, I've already bought the tickets for those specific games. I'm buying them to be entertained those days.
Yeah.
The Phillies losing in October doesn't rip me off.
No.
Of anything.
No.
Like, I don't get the terminology on that.
Yeah, it's like Zach Wheeler striking out 12 in a game, or are you just going to...
You saw the no-hitter.
I did.
Right? You saw the no-hitter in person. And then the Phillies gag jobbed against the Diamondbacks. Did you feel ripped off?
No.
You have a lifelong memory.
No, me and my 2 buddies, Alex and Jack,
And you
who
have
I
a
ended up watching the
lifelong
Super Bowl with. Yeah.
And you have... I don't get that. I don't get that mind of thinking. I'm not trying to...
I will forever have
dump
that.
on the text. That's where I'm at.
It's dumb. I'll say it right now. It's dumb if you're going into this season worried about, for the overall accomplishment of the team, yes, you have to consider how do they win the World Series? Can they win the World Series? But where we sit right now on March 26th, one of the habits, undeniably so, of successful, happy, at peace people is being where you are in the moment and enjoying the journey more than focusing on the destination. And what a lot of people in Philadelphia are doing right now are skipping 6 months of their journey in a baseball season that's going to be really, really good and saying, screw that. I'm going to waste all of that happiness to worry about something that may or may not be coming.
Yeah.
And that's flat out dumb. And a lot of people are doing that.
All right. Here's the ESPN preview for 2025. They broke it down into tiers, but they ranked them in order. By the way, there's only one team in Tier 1, the Dodgers. This is from Jeff Passan and the team at ESPN. Tier 1 is titled The Almighty Dodgers. Tier 2 is the biggest threats to LA's throne. That's how good the Dodgers are. That it's the Dodgers and everybody else. They have the Braves at number 2, but they have the Phillies at 3. The other teams in this tier, Mets, which I don't agree with. I don't think that pitching staff's good enough. D-backs, Baltimore Orioles, and the New York Yankees. So that's your Tier 2. Now, here's what they said about the Phillies. So they discussed a couple of topics. So I want to go through this with you guys. First, their projected record with the computer system that's always wrong has the Eagles going 89-73, making the playoffs. Here's one of the topics. The thing we'll be talking about the most this season. Can this core finally break through and win a championship? And so that goes to the tenor of conversation that we've been having for the last couple of weeks as we get closer to opening day, which is tomorrow, which is whether or not they can finally break through. The Phillies have reached the playoffs the past 3 seasons. Their playoff exits have come earlier and earlier each year. In the World Series in 2022, in the NLCS in 23, and the NLDS last season. Philadelphia with 13 players in their 30s on its projected opening day roster is one of the oldest rosters in baseball. Zach Wheeler and JT Realmuto are 34. Castellanos is 33. Harper and Schwarber, 32. Turner and Aaron Nola are 31. Realmuto and Schwarber are slated to reach free agency this winter. This season could be, with Christopher Sanchez's expected improvement and the addition of Jesus Lazard in the rotation, Philly's best shot to win it all.
Wait, did he say that they're expected to hit free agency?
Yes.
I don't think Schwarber's expected.
Sorry, slated.
Oh, slated. Okay, good.
Christopher Sanchez expected improvement.
Okay.
Realmuto Schwarber slated to reach free agency.
Okay, good, because they are slated right now.
But that last line of this is Philly's best shot to win it all.
It is.
Even more so than 2022. Let's face it. They got hot.
2 games to 1 up in the World Series with 2 games coming at home.
Yeah, but going into the season, nobody was saying winning the World Series.
I got you. That's
out of these teams, Last year, I liked their chances.
I like their chances a ton last.
Even before the season, like before the hot start, I liked their chances a ton.
Sure.
Yeah, but where'd they get worse? That's the thing we don't look at. There are teams in baseball that took a step back this offseason.
Right.
I know the goal is World Series, so you're always looking at improvement. You're looking at change. The Phillies did not really get worse anywhere. There are questions with the bullpen, but if you're looking at this pen, you can say the ceiling is the same spot it was last year if guys work out.
Yeah, that's true.
The team has not gone backwards.
No, it is not.
No, it's just the same team, and that's what is bothering a lot of people. Most likely award winner, they have Zach Wheeler as a Cy Young candidate.
Sure.
One realistic, bold prediction. Not only do all 5 starting pitchers throw at least 162 innings, the last teams to do that were the Cubs and Blue Jays in 2016, by the way. But all 5 end up with an ERA under 3.50. So this goes back to your guarantee earlier in the show.
Top 3 rotation. That'll never happen, by the way.
The last team to meet both criteria was the 2006 White Sox. Oh, and since we're predicting good health, that means rookie Andrew Painter will be the closer in the postseason. How about that?
I don't believe for a second that we're going to get 5 starters with 162 innings thrown. Already we have Ranger off to another wonky start.
Right.
So that's too much for me. I do believe we will see the Andrew Painter effect in the second half of the year, and I think that's going to get the paddles out for people. I think that's going to be like when you get to the dog days of summer.
Yeah.
And we have our Paul Skeens stepping up.
Yeah.
That everybody's been waiting to see. And I don't think he's Connor, 10 starts maybe this year?
If that.
Best case scenario?
I don't know if they're going to go 6-man with him, because Wheeler doesn't like that. I honestly don't know how he fits into the rotation.
Well, here's the thing. If they're thinking bullpen already, they might have him start a few games and then transition him to the bullpen.
I see. Now that's what
that he can get used to coming out in the middle of a game.
That's what I really do not want to see. I do not want to see a starting pitcher being screwed around with.
You've seen it work before.
I don't like it.
Yeah,
That's
Sanchez was a bullpen guy.
I got you.
Now he's the hot name in baseball.
I think
and
about,
now he breaks down every year.
Adam Wainwright.
And he breaks down every year as a starter now.
Adam Wainwright's going to go to the Hall of Fame, and he was the closer for the Cardinals back in the day.
You're giving me the anomalies. You're not giving me the norm.
Andrew Painter's not the norm.
You're giving me the anomalies.
I got you.
You know what great starting pitchers tend to do? They come up to the major leagues and they're great starting pitchers.
Yes.
Yeah, but they don't normally come up in a rotation with 5 great starting pitchers.
Which they do have a very good rotation.
They have a very good rotation.
Yeah. Now, coming up next, there's one more topic that I wanted to save.
Okay.
And I think it's the question that everybody has. How can they beat the Dodgers? All right? How can they join LA in that top tier? I'll go through what they wrote coming up next. And then also, I know you guys talked about this last week. You believe there's a specific date that the Phillies need to be in first place by.
That is correct. And I don't.
Or they won't win the division.
And I don't care about, obsessing on the standings till Memorial Day.
Right.
But in this case, I think it's mission critical.
So we'll go through that coming up next. We're not going to do W's and L's, obviously, but
you guys want to, but
we'll look at what the Braves and Mets are dealing with to start the seasons compared to what the Phillies have at their disposal.
Yep.
It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Mike Missanelli.
I can't say that this team is done.
But I wanted to do this with you guys, and I wanted to separate it for this segment. So we just went through that ESPN deep dive of all the teams. Obviously, we only did the Phillies, but they broke down tiers and they, gave a bunch of topics that they discussed. And one of the topics for each team in that second tier, which includes the Braves, the Phillies, the Mets, the Diamondbacks, the Orioles, and the Yankees, is how they can beat and get to that top tier with the Dodgers. Here's what they wrote about the Phillies. Because, again, the national media thinks higher the Phillies than a lot of fans.
Than you hear locally.
Yeah,
yes.
It's amazing. The Phillies sent 2 non-closing relievers to the All-Star game last summer. One of them, Jeff Hoffman, has since joined the Toronto Blue Jays. The other, Matt Strahm, is dealing with shoulder inflammation. Then there's Carlos Estevez, who helped take down the 9th inning after being acquired at midseason and has since left via free agency, joining the Royals. It's going to be a good team, by the way, the Royals. The Phillies' offense is menacing, and their rotation looks deep, but they need to shore up the back end of their bullpen if they hope to compete in the Dodgers' territory. They need Orion Kirkring to take another step forward, which I believe that he will. Jose Alvarado to resemble his 2023 self, which I do believe will happen. And Jordan Romano, non-tendered this offseason, to find himself. Look, they got horses in the pen. And you imagine that with the addition of Andrew Painter down the road, which could mean Ranger Suarez to the pen, who's done very well in that role. And I'm going to guess that come deadline time, they acquire another reliever. I think they have the makings of a bullpen that can compete with the Dodgers.
Did you hear the Jason Stark number that he had on Orion Kirkring?
No.
Okay, there were 8 relievers in baseball last year who had an ERA, 7 that had an ERA better than him with the amount of innings pitched.
Okay, only 7.
7. And he was the youngest.
It's awesome.
Every one of those relievers that was better than him was younger, was older than him.
Yeah.
Orion Kirkring has a ceiling that we haven't even begun to see.
He had a tremendous season.
Tremendous season.
And if his role just continues to increase in the bullpen, I mean, I understood why they went to Hoffman last year in the playoffs. I understood the usage of Carlos Estevez. Well, no, I didn't understand going out for a second inning. But Orion Kirkring, if he just continues to get better, which he had another good spring, he's going to be a vital part of this bullpen.
I'm excited for him to get the opportunity, too. Because to me, it's doing something different.
Yes.
It's
Having
trying.
roles, I still think matters.
I do think it matters.
Sorry, I'm a caveman for saying that.
Well, of course, Dave Dombrowski doesn't believe batting orders mean anything.
Yeah.
It's so cavalier right now. The approach they've taken
Matters come playoff time.
is so cavalier. Yeah, batting order really doesn't have any significance. You guys, you amateurs think it does, but it doesn't.
Well, and that's why
it's so condescending.
People are bothered going into the season.
And I guess what I understand it because I'm bothered by that too. I'm like, look, dude, you're not splitting the atom. And I have all the respect for Dave Dombrowski.
Absolutely.
He's freaking awesome at his job, and he's been great across baseball. But don't start with the,
it doesn't actually matter.
You guys may think that it matters, but, us guys who are in the business, we understand.
That's kind of disappointing.
It's disappointing.
All right. Give the people the date that you have where the Phillies need to be in first place.
Okay, we're going to mark the show. It's coming up, so make time to be with Kincade Salciunas on Monday, May the 12th. Because when we come in here to do the show on Monday, May the 12th, I believe the Phillies have to be in first place. And you know how I study these stupid schedules.
Yep.
And way too much. And the schedule spreadsheet's already there. I don't know if you saw it earlier. It's already there.
It's amazing.
And the advantage for the Phillies to have some daylight, to be able to take advantage of the Braves and the Mets, I'm not counting the Nationals and Marlins in the discussion.
Right.
Is that break before May the 10th. The schedule's favorable. You got the opportunity to do so, and you have tons of home games. They are heavily loaded home games early in the season, which is good for you because they're a good home team.
Yes.
But it also will not pay off for you down the line when you've got some very, very difficult road games at the end. At the end of the season, at the Mets, at the Brewers, you got a Marlins thrown in now, at the Dodgers, at the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, it's a tough stretch down the road,
But you know what's funny is that September, Phillies have a lot of home games. April, Phillies have a lot of home games. It's sort of changed out in the middle. It's a weird schedule this year, the way it shook out.
Yeah.
But the second to the last week of the season, The Phillies are at the Dodgers for 3 and at the Diamondbacks for 3.
That's difficult.
That is going to be late nights, probably nail-biting.
Probably, yeah.
In a division race. It's going to be awesome to watch. But you have to take advantage early.
Now, here's the deal.
Okay?
How do they do that? Well, you have pitchers always have the advantage at the beginning of the season. And you have a great pitching staff.
You do.
The Braves, who you're fighting for to be in first place come May 12th, they will be without Spencer Strider and Ronald Acuna Jr. for pretty much that entire stretch.
And the first meeting of that, which is why I say that. That's part of that was part of my main reason. Is probably till around that date you get no Strider. And you're definitely having no Acuna by that date. Plus you get your first 3 games. You only get 13. Remember, it's not that wonky old schedule.
Yeah.
You get 13 with the Mets, 13 with the Braves. And those 13 games are mission critical to winning this division. And the first 3 against the Braves are at the Braves, and you get them without Strider and Acuna.
That's big.
That'd be a nice series to win.
Yeah. And then the
put a
other
leg
team
up.
to keep out there, obviously an eye on, will be the Mets.
Because the Mets,
I'm not worried about
the
them.
first series you get with the Mets is at the Mets in April, late April, at the Mets for 3. Got to take advantage of the Mets starting rotation will get better as the season goes on, as guys get healthier and they get guys back in the rotation.
And they'll probably be buyers at the deadline.
But take advantage of it early because I really do believe the 13 games versus the Mets and the Braves, we're going to end up with a situation where down the line we're going to be going, okay, we hold the tiebreaker with them. We don't hold the tiebreaker with them.
Yeah.
Worrying about that.
I get why you're focusing on this. I just can't subscribe to the school of thought that if they're a game or 2 back, so at the point you're looking at it, Mother's Day.
Sure.
They will have played, that Monday will be their 42nd game.
Which is around a quarter of the season.
They'll have 120 baseball games left. If they're 2 games back in the division.
But what you don't have is the favorable schedule. You blew the major part of your favorable schedule to take advantage of it.
I got you.
So that to me is, you can say, we can look at it and go, it's a quarter of the season, no big deal. But it's a quarter of the season that's incredibly favorable to you.
For the Phillies, yeah.
If your argument is they need to get off to a hot start, I'm with you. But if they're not in first place by Mother's Day with 120 games left, they're not winning the division. I can't get there.
Here's what the Braves are going to do. Just for instance, in this comparison.
Yeah.
When they get to that mark on Mother's Day, the Braves will be done their season series with the Dodgers. They will have played the 7 games against the Dodgers. Already done. They will be done 4 with the Padres. They will be done their 3-game road trip to the Rays. They will be done 3-game road trip at the Diamondbacks. So they will be getting some of their biggest, most important games out of the way.
So you got to kind of almost hope that they get buried pretty early on.
That's what I'm saying. And I do believe, by the way, I do believe the Braves are going to scuffle early. And I do believe that the Mets starting rotation is going to cause them to scuffle.
Yeah, their rotations.
It's hard. I understand what you're saying, Connor, completely, because of what we've seen.
Yeah.
But this is such an advantageous stretch compared to what the Braves have. And I consider the Braves a bigger threat than the Mets.
Yeah, I just look at last year's Phillies and how they collapsed and how great that team was. And I just say, well, any team can have a month where they go bad.
Yeah.
So
or they can have a month where they're red hot, even if it's in June or July. It can happen.
Yeah.
All right, coming up next, we'll talk to you at 610-632-0975. Why has been the majority of conversations surrounding the Phillies going into the season been negative? And it's not just blame the media, like you guys are the ones talking about it. Like, no, we're reacting to a lot of things that you have to say. So we'll get deeper into that coming up next. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Eagles add some depth. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Birds made a move yesterday in free agency, signing Kendall Lamb from the Dolphins. He's a swing tackle, so he will add some depth to the offensive line room, a 10-year NFL vet. But we'll see how he coalesces with the other students at Stoutland University. The Eagles have been largely quiet recently on the offseason, though, and the next big domino of the fall could be Dallas Goedert. There have been a lot of stories about him potentially being traded for cap relief. Jeff McClain of the Inquirer joined us yesterday to talk about the path for Goedert to come back to the team.
I'd heard there was a chance that he was going to go. That hasn't happened yet. But look, I see a path for him to be back here. It's just going to be dependent upon what he's willing to take in terms of a restructure.
We'll keep you updated on what the Eagles could do with that situation. And as free agency continues in division, the Giants have signed Russell Wilson, adding him to their quarterback room with Jameis Winston. We're just one day away from baseball's opening day. The Phillies will take on the Nationals tomorrow, 4:05 p.m. first pitch from down there in the nation's capital. Zach Wheeler will be on the mound for your Phils. Flyers fell to the Maple Leafs 7-2 last night. They're off this evening. Sixers host the Wizards tonight. Tip off at 7. That game live here on The Fanatic. It's also our knockout tournament night. This update's brought to you by Staples Stores. Your local Staples store has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. Save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Ricky Vitalico.
Everybody thought that when Bryce Harper stepped over here, it was going to...
Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Just saw Bill Colarulo during the commercial break. Mike Missanelli show coming your way at 10 o'clock.
What's with the
night.
backwards hat today for Bill?
I don't know.
Is he doing like Ray Dunn the other day, the backwards hat?
Well, he did it yesterday. I think
it did not. It's not a good look for Ray, who honestly, as my wife and daughter have agreed, Ray looks like the guy in every Hallmark movie. Like every Hallmark movie has a character
that looks like Ray Dunn.
That looks like Ray Dunn. He's the handsome young guy in the neighborhood. Now, one time he may be the hero in one of them. He may be the best friend in another. But Ray could move to any one of those fictional Hallmark towns. The backwards hat didn't work.
Well, yesterday was supposed to be
work.
backwards hat day on the Mike Missanelli show, but
I'm
apparently
surprised
it got
Mike's
moved.
going for that.
Apparently, it got moved to today.
Yes,
but Ray missed the memo, and that's why he had it yesterday.
Yeah, I think Mike's doing it like anti. That's kind of joking because he's anti the backwards hat.
I'm proud of Mike with that. Now, Connor, you flip.
Dude,
you like backwards hat. You don't like backwards hat. What is it?
Depends on the hat. I like forward hat. But
he likes the trucker hat.
In here, if you watch on our YouTube, where the microphone hangs, it hangs directly where the brim would be. So I can't wear it forward. It would be hitting the microphone the whole show. So I have to go backwards.
Talk louder.
What? You want me to say? All right, welcome into Kincade Salciunas.
That sounds good.
That actually sounds better.
Yeah, I would prefer that.
Especially with some of your arguments.
All right, you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN, HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, BC Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. We're trying to figure out why the tenor of conversation surrounding the Phillies has been really mainly negative. And even though there are people that I think are excited for the season, I mean, just being in Clearwater for a week, I saw that. People are excited for the season, but you get the sense that the majority of conversation has been surrounded by some sort of negative tone or wake me up when. Or maybe not wake me up when, but I can't wait for the season to start, but I'm worried about the playoffs. Like, there's been a bit of nervous energy every time we talk about the Phillies. Now, the Eagles have carried us very far into the 2025 calendar year. We're really just diving deeper into the Phillies this week because opening day is tomorrow. So what are the people saying on the text line about this discussion, Connor? Because for the most part, people have answered the bell. They've given reasons why the conversations have been more negative. So what are they saying?
Now, I am really envious of this texter because they exist in some sphere that we don't. I don't know if this is real or not, but they say, you guys are way off. I don't know who you've been talking to, but I see nothing but hype for the Phillies season. Sorry, all you've heard from are the miserable negative Nancys.
I don't know where you're saying all the hype from. I've seen all the hype from media. I have not seen at all the hype locally with our fan base.
Social media, our conversations.
I would imagine I got much more interaction with the total fan base than that person does. As far as the amount of people that respond to us on a daily basis, come up on my feed. I think it's a very trepidatious sort of feel to it.
All right, I'll bring up Clearwater again, right? So we did the Q&As, and I'll be honest, a lot of the questions, even though people were happy to be down there, a lot of the questions were, hey, what are they going to do this year that's not last year? Right? Like they were asking about stealing more bags and...
You mean actually playing the whole game of baseball that we haven't seen them play for years?
Yes. Thoughts on analytics and all kinds of stuff. Like, this team is deep into analytics.
Oh, yes.
A lot of teams are, but this team is deep into it. And people don't like that. Now, a lot of it was like an old school way of thinking about baseball. Analytics does have a place in the game, but if you go too far, we saw that in the Matt Klentak, Gabe Kapler hour. They went way too far with it, and that's why the rebirth of the Phillies took a little bit longer than expected, getting back to the playoffs with Bryce Harper. But for the most part, even the questions down there, it was more so worried questions or asking about stories. Like, hey, Charlie, tell
us the story.
Yeah, Larry, tell us about. But when it came to this team, it wasn't many like, tell us why they're going to win. It was, hey, is this going to be a problem? Is this going to be a problem? And so even the people that made the trip to Clearwater were feeling a certain type of way. So I don't know where that texter's coming from.
Yeah, I don't know where it's coming from.
Maybe he's a part of like that, the Fandemic crew.
Yeah.
And they're very
those
pro
people,
Phillies.
and we love them.
I
That's
do too.
awesome.
Yeah, they're great. Maybe, but they're very pro Phillies. Maybe that's who they hang out with.
It could be. Our next texter is not part of that group. So, no name on this one, but this is a long text. I'm going to shorten it. And they say, 2 reasons why you can't be excited for the Phillies, the same old lineup in the bullpen. And then they list a bunch of players and what's wrong with them. So I'll give you a taste of it here.
Okay.
Trey Turner, decent, but his defense is worse than most high school shortstops. Bryce Harper, good, but wasn't clutch enough in the last couple postseasons. Bohm can't hit in the playoffs. JT can't hit anymore. Stott doesn't know what end of the bat to hold. Marsh flat out stinks. Like, what are we doing here, guys?
I don't disagree with the Marsh part.
I don't. Can't.
Flat out stinks.
I understand how someone says no, that he's not. They're not excited about Marsh.
The Stott one, I don't. What do you mean? Doesn't know what end of the bat to hold. He's gonna probably hit around 280 this year. Bryce Harper not being clutch. There was really only one moment in the Mets series where he had a big spot and he struck out. It was you and I were out and about that day.
Yeah, we were at Uptown Beer Garden, right?
No, we were not at Uptown.
No, we were
Beer
at the
Garden.
place in Delco.
Near your neck of the woods.
You were at Barnaby's.
Barnaby's,
Yeah,
that's
You're
right.
at Barnaby's.
And Harper had a huge strikeout. It was a pretty bad spot. But other than that moment, him and Castellanos were your 2 guys that showed up offensively. So that guy's just miserable.
Exactly.
To say, the beginning of the text was, this is why you can't be excited about the Phillies. I'm thrilled that the Phillies have a 90-win plus baseball team on a year-to-year basis and have a threat to actually make runs in the playoffs. Do you not remember what we went through for a decade? A decade where I had to talk myself into Nick Williams and Aaron Altair. I had to find out that Mickey Moniak and Adam Hazley were their first-round picks. Cornelius Randolph, I don't know what that guy does anymore. This team is built to succeed, and we're talking about how we shouldn't be excited because of some past failures?
Harper like this. Even cousin Ryan checking in. In clutch spots though, Harper's like, other than the sending them to the World Series. Excuse me, I believe he's got like a .510 on base percentage. I mean, he's got wild numbers.
Other than the strip sack in the Super Bowl, what big play has Brandon Graham ever made?
Oh my gosh!
Come
on, folks! Here, come on.
Stop being miserable about a good team.
Like, what is this? And by the way, Bryce Harper's name cannot come out of your mouth if you're talking about he is one of the most clutch players in Major League in recent. If you're talking about this century, he is one of the most clutch batters in the sport. He shouldn't come out of your mouth.
No.
Like it should be. Now, him blaming Rob Thompson and the coaching staff.
Yeah, that's a different conversation.
That was a different conversation, and I was all over it. But come on now. Harper's name can't come out of your mouth. He's one of the most clutch hitters in the game in postseason.
Bryce Harper with the
Stop.
Phillies. With the Phillies, here are his postseason numbers.
You give me some of, especially on base
In
percentage.
34 games, Bryce Harper is batting .325.
He's hitting .325 in how many games?
In 34.
34 postseason games.
His on-base percentage is .444.
Okay, that's freaking wild.
Last year with the Mets, it was .529.
Oh, my gosh. That's incredible.
Of his 38 hits in 34 games, 12 of them have been via the long ball. 24 ribbies, 29 runs scored.
You've got to stop with this. If anyone brings up Harper not being clutch, it's got to stop. Because Google can be your friend.
Yeah, that's
He's one of the best in baseball. Like, I mean, you could have any argument. Like, you may not like Harper for this or something else, but if you're talking about him not being clutch, you're not just doing basic research because it's there.
No,
he
we're
carried
just
their
straight up hating.
backside.
You're being the contrarian because that's not even research. Like, if you watch the games, you know that Bryce Harper's been good in the playoffs.
I'm telling you, you can't. I think of it. You guys brought it up. Some of it is that we didn't know each other at the time, but we all shared in the common experience. When everybody would stop what they were doing, my mom, who was still alive at the time, in her 80s, when Ryan Howard came to the plate,
he stopped.
My mom would literally shh.
Yeah.
Shh.
Turn up the TV a little bit.
Ryan Howard's up.
Yeah.
Like it was that big a deal for her watching the Phillies. Come on. Bryce Harper's that.
Yeah.
He's worth the price of the greatest showman.
Yeah,
There it
absolutely.
is.
I just can't believe
Stop. I mean, it just drives me crazy.
Connor said something to me off the air. I think it was on Monday, where you were like, "Man, 15 years from now, when we're doing shows, and the Phillies have been on a playoff drought of like 5-6 years, we're gonna be like, hey, remember when you guys had those good teams and
You hated every bit of them?
yeah,
15 years from now, when you guys are doing shows, I'm going to be like, getting ready to tee off, boys.
yeah. Well,
Hope you have a great day.
Good thing we do mornings. I'll join you on the course
Love you.
afterward. All right, coming up next, we will have our 5 best minutes of Adam Schefter. And still to come later on this show, Jimmy Rollins spoke with John Clark, gave his 2 cents on the leadoff position. As we are one day away from opening day in Major League Baseball, it's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson.
They're in the Sixers territory with better weapons. There are certain people that believe they'll never win it with it being so.
The final hour of Kincade Salciunas is presented to you by The Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag. You can get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. You need details? Go to Bagster.com.
I wanted the sponsor there to help the tees. We saw Mikey Miss and Bill Colorado. There's basketball courts here at One Bala Plaza. Getting some work in.
I think that's awesome.
That's good work.
That is good work on
I
their
have no
part.
problem with it. Haley's like, what are they doing? I was like, I'm doing it after the show.
The backwards.
I haven't shot a basketball in 6 months.
The backwards hats, though, I got to tell you, I hope it's a mock thing on Mikey Miss's part. Because usually I would think he'd say that's a violation.
Maybe he wants to try something new.
Maybe he does. I don't know.
I saw them getting their shots up. Mike's got the quick twitch. Catch and release, which is good for knockout.
I would think with Mike is one of those guys, and you've seen Mike on the golf course. Like Mike's one of those guys who I think is just sort of good at everything.
Okay.
Like he can have a good. I don't know if he's going to be great enough tonight to win it, but he's in it. So there you go.
By the way, were his odds even on The Ray Dunn piece?
I don't know. Maybe he just went out to shoot with him.
Did Ray Dunn not include Mikey Miss?
Maybe he didn't think Mike was going to be in. Mike could knock out.
Oh, so is Mike like the Undertaker? We're going to hear the bell ring and he's going to come out?
Mike could knock out many people in this event. I assure you. He could.
I might have to send a hit out.
On Mike?
On somebody. Because a lot of people are coming after me, but my brother won the whole thing last year.
Yes.
He was the last man standing. I might have to place him behind somebody who I want to see get knocked out.
Now, here's the deal. During the commercial break, Connor comes up to me. I can't believe you're standing behind me. Has he not talked up a game?
You have.
So?
And the thing is like I was just telling young Haley, who we love, you're going to see some social media content where Haley and Connor go head-to-head in a competition. And she says, well, he shouldn't be bragging that he beat me. And I said, Haley, you were bragging. You challenged him. That's how it works. If you challenge, you better be ready to back it up.
Yeah, I got the resume.
Connor
here.
wasn't doing the Connor wasn't challenging you. If you challenge someone, be ready.
Yeah. Everyone comes at the king, and you just keep missing.
Well, I don't think of you as the king. That's a whole different.
I'll be behind you, ready to take you out.
I can't wait till
early. I'm going
to make sure people get to see some of this tonight.
All right. It is time now. Adam Schefter joins us every single Wednesday around 7:55. Always love our conversations with Schefter. He joined us earlier today. Here's the best 5 minutes of it. From ESPN, our man Adam Schefter joins us. Schefter, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are we doing today?
We're doing well.
We're trying to figure out what the hell the New York Giants are doing. And I celebrate it being an Eagles fan, and I'm feeling pretty comfortable saying the Eagles are already 2-0. What are the Giants doing signing Russell Wilson?
Well, the cost is not very high. It's $10.5 million guaranteed for 1 year. And you're talking about a team that a week ago, the only quarterback on its roster was Tommy DeVito. So I think the way they're looking at it is, okay, we signed Jameis, we signed Russell. We'd like to try to get a quarterback in this draft who we like. Whether or not they can do that or not still remains to be seen. If they can't get one, they have Russell and Jameis. Now, if they can get one, I still think they will draft the guy that they love if he's available. And if not, they feel like they've done the best they can at this point in time to try to solidify the position.
Yeah, but solidifying the position gets you around 500, and now all of a sudden you don't have a top draft pick, and you're in trouble next year.
And it's a better quarterback draft next year.
But you've guys fighting for their jobs. What do you want them to do?
I want them to do what's best for the organization, long term.
Okay, so I believe they're doing that. You know, what's best for the long term is not...
Adam, if they draft Shedeur Sanders with the third pick in this draft, they're going onto a car lot and saying, I got $100,000 here. And they're walking off with a hybrid. They're not getting the top of the line car that's $100,000. They're getting an economical car, a potential good car, but they're way overpaying for it.
Well, you know what? What I would say to that is this. Last year, there were people that would have said that Denver is spending $100,000 on that kind of car for Bo Nix, and they were wrong.
What was his? Where did he go in the draft, though?
12.
He went 12. If it's 12, I'd take Shedeur Sanders at 12. I think that's about. But I'm not taking him at 3.
But John, if there's a quarterback you like, and he is, if Shedeur Sanders is a good player, it doesn't matter to me whether they get him at 3 or 12. If you get a good quarterback, it doesn't matter. 9 slots in the draft. Come on.
Wow. I think moving from 3 to 12 in the draft, you could get a lot of draft capital. You could probably get a future number 1. So that does matter.
Hold on.
Okay.
Now we're operating under the assumption, which we don't know, that they happen to really like Shedeur Sanders. Let's use that theory, okay? Let's use the theory that they really like Shedeur Sanders, and they're not prepared to spend the price it takes at 3. They want to get extra draft picks. Okay? They want to try to do that. What if the second... We all agree right now that Shedeur is the second quarterback in this draft. Do we agree with that right now or not?
I think it's a possibility. Yeah, he's in that discussion, absolutely.
Okay, how about this? Let's say you like Shedeur and you like him way more than Jackson Dart. And maybe some people like Jackson Dart more, Tyler Shuck more, whoever. Let's just call it that they like Shedeur Sanders, and they trade back to 12 to get extra picks, and Shedeur Sanders goes 7 to the Jets, or 6 to the Raiders, or 9 to the Saints, and you just picked up a couple of extra 3s or whatever it was, an extra 2s to move back to 12, and you lost your quarterback.
I got you, but going from 3 to 12, you're not picking up a couple 3s. You're picking up a future 1 to do something like that.
Okay, fine. You got your future 1, and you just lost your quarterback, okay? And if you lost your quarterback, it doesn't matter whatever exit. So last year, I'll go back to Denver again and Bo Nix, because I know before the draft, Denver talked about moving back a few slots to New Orleans slot to see if they could get an extra 2 or 3. Not a 1, but an extra 2 or 3. Wiggle back. That was the term that was used to me. We're thinking about wiggling back and getting an extra pick. And we were talking about it. I talked about it with them. And at the time, I wondered, I'm like, oh boy, like they're going to wiggle back and they're going to risk losing the guy that they really like at quarterback. Let's see if they do it. And then I remember once Michael Penix went number 8, the conversation in the Broncos war room shifted from whether they should wiggle back to whether they should wiggle up in the draft. Okay? So that's how quickly things change. But the fact of the matter is, if you like a quarterback, I don't care whether you're taking him at 3 or 12, you're taking that guy. If you like him that much to take him in the first. If you don't, then don't. Then don't spend the $100,000 on the car lot. I like that analogy. Don't get a new car. Go take a trip to Paris. Go book multiple trips. Go buy a house. Go buy a boat. Whatever you want to do.
Or get a retread in Russell Wilson, like we go down the Jersey Shore every single summer.
If that works for you as well, fine. But what they've done is right now is they're trying to win games. They're embarrassed last year. Obviously, with everything that went on, the way their season unfolded, the way it went with Saquon and Philly, like they're trying to win games. There aren't that many quarterbacks available. So they signed 2 of them. They didn't invest all that much money in the quarterback when you're talking quarterbacks. So they got 2 guys who have been experienced, who have been productive, whether you like them or not. You know, the Eagles at one point in time, I know he's not in the prime of his career anymore, but he does have a point to prove. So we'll see. They're rolling the dice on those guys with the hope still that they can get who they want in the draft, which we'll see whether they do that or not.
We always hear that it's a copycat league. And obviously right now, Howie Roseman going to 3 Super Bowls in 8 seasons and winning 2 of them. His plan, do you hear people around the league saying, let's copy it? Let's try to do something. What are the Eagles doing? And if they're not, why don't they?
What do you want them to
Cap management, the strategy that they use with that, and how many owners are willing to do the kind of things that Jeffrey Lurie's willing to do with the upfront cash.
Yeah, well, I would say this, that the Eagles have been doing it for a long time. Like it started way back in the day with Joe Banner, getting out in front of these guys. But you know what? You need coaches to identify which players you want to keep and sign long term and how much you want to invest and all those things. Like it's a collaborative process with everybody. And I don't know that, absolutely teams are looking at them and studying them. I don't know that it's simple to just copy them and say, okay, we're going to copy them and do it this way. Like, I don't think it works like that. I don't think it's so I think it's easier said than done to me, John, personally.
Sure. All right, that's our 5 best minutes of Adam Schefter. So
it's pretty good today. Fired up, Adam.
Loved it, yeah. Now, here's the deal. Coming up next, Jimmy Rollins was on with John Clark on the Taking Off podcast, and we will hear what Jimmy thinks about the leadoff spot. But also,
Jimmy don't like that.
As it is knockout night, one Silvana Kelleher of the best show ever has chimed in and called Connor Thomas out.
And by the way, we're Connor's boys, but we both sort of feel like Silvana makes a great point.
So, Connor,
we will have it coming up next.
You and the audience will hear about this for the first time next. Silvana puts something on the table here. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The future of Goddard. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles have quieted down on the offseason front as of late. They did sign Kendall Lamb, a swing tackle, some depth from the Dolphins. He's a 10-year vet, so that should help out the room a little bit there. But the next big domino to fall could be a trade of Dallas Goedert for potential cap relief, and it's been a hot topic as the offseason progresses. But Jeff McClain of the Inquirer joined us yesterday and talked about the path for Goddard to remain with the team.
I heard there was a chance that he was going to go. That hasn't happened yet. But look, I see a path for him to be back here. It's just going to be dependent upon what he's willing to take in terms of a restructure.
Of course, we'll keep you updated on that story as well as what's going on with the Eagles offseason. In division, the Giants have signed Russell Wilson, adding him to their quarterback room with Jameis Winston. We're just one day away from opening day in baseball. The Phillies will take on the Nationals down in Washington. First pitch tomorrow is at 4:05 with Zach Wheeler on the mound facing Mackenzie Gore. Flyers fell to the Maple Leafs 7-2 last night. They're off this evening. The Sixers host the Wizards site at 7. That game will be live here on 97.5 The Fanatic. It's also our knockout tournament. This update's brought to you by Moyer Indoor Outdoor Services. Follow Andrew Salciunas' lead and get a jump on a lush green lawn this spring right now. Go to eMoyer.com for free estimates. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Bill Colarulo.
I don't understand why you don't.
show headlines. Check those out on YouTube. We will appreciate it. Like, subscribe, you name it. We talked about something that the Mets are doing at their ballpark. They're doing a bucket of hot dogs.
Yes.
12 hot dogs for $12.99.
12 for $12.99.
Love that.
It's a great deal. And John was talking about, well,
like they're not wrapped.
Yeah.
So it's like they're just jamming hot dogs. No foil, no nothing. They're just jammed in. Sorry, the hot dogs are getting all sweaty. The bottom rolls are going to be wet.
But here's how I look at it.
It'll be soaking wet.
If you're quick with it, right, which I am.
How can you be quick with 20 hot dogs?
12.
12, I mean.
But here's the deal. If it's you and a guest, like Connor, I mean, I've done the 10 hot dogs at a $1 dog day,
Yeah.
but you're like a 2 or 3 dogger, right?
Yeah, sometimes I can throw.
10?
My record is 9.5. I want to say.
Yeah, I did 10 at a $1
did
dog night once. Yeah,
10?
yeah, I'm not.
Was that Chubby
ashamed.
Tunis or
No, that was Fit Andrew. Yeah, I put myself to the test.
I'm floored. All that bread.
Let's say you and me, we get the bucket of dogs. We each eat 3. So a hot dog at Citizens Bank Park is like $4.50 nowadays. So just the 3 hot dogs, if we both get 6
$26
hot dogs, and we're paying $12.99, and now we have 6 hot dogs left over, love thy neighbor.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys want a dog?
You want a wet dog?
You
want a wet dog here? That's all?
money buying this bucket. They're now doing something with cookies.
How about now cookies? Hot chocolate chip cookies in a Mets helmet. For $19.99.
20 of them.
20
Oh, it's a great deal.
hot
That's
chocolate
a great
chip
deal.
cookies.
The value deal at a ballpark.
I got to tell you, they're doing a good job. Now, we're going to check in with John Brazier tomorrow, right?
Yes, we will be.
Yeah, we'll find out what they've
You got to
got
say,
cooking.
hey, yo, you took away a $1 dog night.
Yeah.
With your stupid BOGO.
So the Mets are like going, hey, we're giving you 12 for $12.99.
And oh, by the way, their owner just spent a boatload of money on Juan Soto, and
Come
they're still
on.
giving you value deals. Come
All
on.
right, Connor, Silvana Kelleher of the Best Show Ever.
Yes, she is
Brought
chimed
up a
in.
good point. Big listener to the show, and we appreciate
Thank you,
Silvana.
Silvana.
Thank
Go
you for
Owls.
listening. Silvana says, after hearing Connor talk, he goes, coward. Why wouldn't he place himself behind them? He said, look, I'll place my brother behind the people talking smack on him. So why wouldn't you go behind them?
If you're so confident,
And
why
knock
wouldn't you
them off.
place yourself
Oh no,
behind?
I can't.
Why?
Because if Andrew's been saying for like a month now he's got to be behind me. What
No,
if
Andrew's behind you.
Yeah, it was like a week or
You
two.
put yourself behind the people talking smack.
I can,
follow
but then they're going to complain that I'm scared of whoever. I'm in a lose-lose.
No, you're not. This is
No, I am, John, because only one person can be behind me, and like 18 people want to kill me.
No,
right,
this
hold on.
is you being behind the people that are talking smack, so you get to knock them
Fine.
all out.
How about this? Who do you believe has talked the most smack about you when it comes to the station, when it comes to Knockout tonight?
You probably.
No, I've not talked smack. I just want
He
to put
doesn't
you in
talk
your
smack.
place.
No. Who's
that-
talking
now we're
smack?
splitting hairs here.
Who's talking smack on you?
I've played
know, it's hard
basketball
to
with you.
even
I've
split.
seen you play. I think you're a stellar basketball player. I'm not saying you stink. I just need to put you in your place.
Okay. I don't know. I probably Haley, but like,
Or should Connor's brother be behind him?
no, because listen, then people are going to go collusion if I make it. I'm going to lose.
No,
what
they're
if you
not.
lose?
No, they're not.
What if
Not with
you're
last year's
What
champion?
if you're
they're
behind?
not.
What if you're behind your brother then?
That's fine. Like, here's the thing: there are too many people that
you're-
want a piece of me for me to
Connor,
to appease everybody.
There's a lot of that. I think Silvana makes a great point. You go behind the people talking smack.
I can only go behind one person.
No, but I mean, see, well, I can make this happen.
Like it
I
used
can
to
see
be
who
Ray.
we want.
It used to be Ray, right? There was the battles with Ray Dunn. You had it with him. Tom had it with him.
Dylan has it long standing with him. Dylan McKinnon.
How about
but I don't know if Ray's been talking much smack towards
how
you.
about Ricky Bowe in front of you?
That was easy work.
Ricky tries to get out.
I made easy work of him last year. That was quick.
Ricky just wants to go home.
Hey,
Ricky
he
got
chucked
ejected.
the ball. Yeah,
Ricky
he
got
chucked the
ejected.
ball.
If I'm behind someone, that person's going to think I'm scared of them. There's plenty of people that want to be directly behind me, including Andrew. I'm
Well, that's
not
already
going
happened.
to win, so I'm just going to stand somewhere in line, and Andrew's going to be behind me, and the rest of the chips are going to fall where they may.
All right.
My resume speaks for itself.
There we
That's
go.
why I'm behind you.
Yes.
All right. What do we have on the text line on today? Oh, sorry. I want to play this audio for it. Jimmy Rollins. Forgot about that. So J-Roll was on with John Clark, the Taking Off podcast, which John does a tremendous job with that. And J-Roll, he asked J-Roll about the leadoff spot.
Okay.
And it looks like it's going to be Trey Turner, even though there's been the talk about the platooning lineup, where Turner's the leadoff one game and Schwarber's the leadoff the next game. Here's Jimmy Rollins on all this.
That is a great question. If it was me, I like the traditional lineup of having the speed up top and not blocking it down in the middle. And I think Trey did a good job there, throughout his whole career. He's bounced 1, 2, and 3. I would like to see him lead off, get him a chance to get on base, run the bases, put pressure on for the big boys when Bryce gets up there and Schwarber hitting those bombs. That's what I would like.
Yeah, and Rob Thompson says he's still undecided.
Yeah, I like it. You know what? Schwarber is a good hitter. He's patient at the plate, but when he's on base in front of Trey, that kind of slows Trey down, for obvious reasons. And why not turn those home runs into 2- and 3-run home runs? I know they say you lead off once a game, but it does change the way a pitcher and another team sets up how they face the lineup. When you have speed at the top and power throughout, it's different than having power in the beginning, which they have power all throughout, but I still like it setting up that a guy that can hit a ball in the gap.
I love the fact that greatest hitter in the history of the organization.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. Let's not gloss over the middle part of that quote, which was when he was asked by John Clark, how do you feel about Rob Thompson being undecided and still maybe using Kyle Schwarber? And he says, I like it.
Yeah, and then he said, but I would rather have Kyle Schwarber not basically clog up the base pass so that Trey can do more. And then I would like 1- and 2-run home runs to be 3-run home runs, which is what I've been saying from the beginning. Schwarber will hit home runs no matter where he's at in the order.
Imagine taking one of the weapons you have in your offensive game, and you just take it away.
Yes.
And you take it away for the opponent. You say, we're going to take this off the table. So we're going to make it sure that Trey and Bryce can't run the bases with reckless abandon because, you got Ted the Bear is running around the bases. I mean, you got it clogged up. Let us help you. It'd be like Nick Sirianni going, first drive of every quarter, I don't want to use Saquon.
Pretty much does that.
I don't want to use him. No, he used him in the first, use him in the second. I mean, you got to go, I'm not going to use him. And I'm going to telegraph it so everybody knows.
I was at a game last year where Schwarber led off with a walk, which is great, right? And then I think it was Harper drilled one in the gap, and Harper was rounding second to get to third, and Schwarber was standing flat-footed at third base. And it's like that. Then they didn't score a run because the next guy didn't knock him in. And the next guy should have scored it. Well, it didn't happen. You could have scored a run if you had a more fleet of foot leadoff guy on base because Trey Turner can also walk. Trey Turner can also get on base. I get it. It's an argument that we've been having for 2-3 years now with whether or not Kyle Schwarber should be the leadoff hitter. And I get it. It sounds caveman-esque when I talk about it this way, but it's just baseball. You get guys on base in front of the power hitter. Kyle Schwarber will hit a home run if he's batting first, second, third, fourth, fifth, ninth. I don't care. Kyle Schwarber can hit a home run.
Yeah.
I got you.
And you got two guys ahead of you that are highly likely two good on-base percentage guys, so that are going to be in there at least, if not 3, which is going to mean that you're actually going to be in a position most times to see better pitches because they've got to pitch to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what Jimmy is absolutely saying. I don't disagree with that from a baseball standpoint. Trey Turner can absolutely be a leadoff hitter. He's been a high-level leadoff hitter at this level. But you don't totally go away from the Kyle Schwarber thing because you've won a lot with that. You've been incredible with him in that spot. Jimmy's just saying his preference based on how he likes to see the game played. And the thing you have to remember is Jimmy Rollins is Trey Turner, right? Trey Turner is Jimmy Rollins. Mm-hmm. They're the same player. Right? So when Jimmy Rollins looks at the leadoff spot, I'm not surprised that he sees a speedy guy with some power but can hit to all fields, that can steal bags and be like, that should be the guy, because that's who he was. You're naturally looking at the preference of how you play the game.
And who he is a World Series champion.
I got you.
With a roster that was very balanced and not, top heavy or not swing, boom or bust. It makes too much sense to have Turner, Harper, Bohm, Schwarber.
Yes, and the thing that kills the too much sense is what doesn't make sense, that you win a boatload with Kyle Schwarber in that spot. So I think that's what they're wrestling with. They're not giving up a 500 lineup.
But here's the deal. We have not been given enough information to know if they win because Schwarber's in the leadoff.
They don't.
Totally fair.
They don't.
The Turner thing was 14 games.
Anybody quoting the record, going, well, the record with Kyle Schwarber hitting batting leadoff is this. And then it's like, I saw last year. Well, 17% of those games, he didn't have a hit.
Yeah.
So what did he have to do with
Well,
it?
there's more to
or
it
Bryce
than that.
Harper hit home runs in this many of those games.
But it's funny. The
ridiculous.
same person that will tell you the winning record with Schwarber in the leadoff spot will also be the first person to say, well, they only lead off once. It's like, well, which one is it? Is it because they're successful, or is it because you don't believe in batting orders, which Dave Dombrowski doesn't necessarily care? If he doesn't care, why are your worst hitters at the bottom of the order? If it doesn't matter, why not put Johan Rojas sixth?
You got to understand.
He only bats sixth once.
You'd be shocked to understand that batting
Harper
order
only
really
bats
doesn't matter.
third once in the game. You might as well bat him ninth.
Why not?
Ridiculous. All right, coming up next, we have our key three and some of your text messages. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Who do you want to see lead off?
Mike Missanelli, Bill Colarulo, and Ray.
on this Championship Wednesday. I haven't dropped the championship line today.
And you didn't tell everybody to have a safe drive to work.
I've been
and
pretty
there
bad
have
at
been
that.
accidents all over the place.
That's
today.
my bad. Sorry, I have that kind of power on
Drive
you guys.
safely.
Knockout night tonight. Excited to see everybody that is going to the game and or participating in knockout. So looking forward to that tonight. It's always fun getting together. We'll see how it goes. A lot of smack talk going around these parts today.
It's a lot of fun.
People getting confident on game day. Connor asked me when we first walked in, "How you feeling?" Just another day. It
Not
is.
preparing to win. That's a problem.
Just another day, man. Just another day. All right, what do we have on our text line about today's Phillies discussion about why it seems like going into the season, the majority of talking points has been negative? John and I are once again, we're putting the bootstraps back on. We're trying to be the beacons of light. We did it for the Eagles leading up to week 1, and we got crushed for it.
By the way, one of our listeners, and I'm going to say, TJ, you're a class act. He goes, why don't you two put your cheerleader uniforms on? How can you watch that team last year and be so confident about 2024? He sent it to me, a screenshot, where he said that about us.
Oh, about the
this
Eagles.
Summer. This summer.
Oh,
He
okay.
goes,
Thank you, TJ.
He goes, I've never been happier to be wrong, and I still listened every day.
All right. So we were the cheerleader pom-pom shakers back in May, June, July, August, leading up to week 1. I guess we're going to have to do that. We did try doing some of that today. We'll do a lot of it tomorrow. Tomorrow's opening day. Tomorrow's a damn holiday. Yeah, you don't want to be the Grinch.
Can't wait.
Don't be my Grinch on opening day. What are the people saying on the text line?
All right, to check in here, no name on this one, but they say the people that can't enjoy the 162 games because they're afraid of the playoffs are the same people that drive 55 in the left lane. Soft. Go
Is that
Phils.
Jeff Kerr? Is that our buddy Jeff Kerr from
Yeah,
CBS?
Jeff Kerr's
Doesn't
a
like
slow
the
left lane driver.
Slow left lane driver,
Very-
which is, by
very
the way,
disappointed.
which is honestly, it almost means no friendship. But
Yeah.
I waive it.
It's very disappointing of Jeff Kerr to be that kind of person. I hate that kind of person. I don't hate Jeff Kerr, but I hate
Left
that kind
lane-
of person.
yeah, left lane driver.
slow driver.
Stop it.
You are not my friend.
Yeah, stop
What else are the people saying?
Kevin in Idaho says it's no secret that as a fan base, our highs are very high and our lows are extremely low. We seem to have the issue of being in the middle and just being patient to see what will happen. We got the scars of the past, but we should have more optimism for the future. So this is a tough spot for us.
I mean, the low, I get it. When things are high here, my God, this place is Disney World, right? It's one of the best places on earth.
It's awesome.
When things are low here, yeah, we're ball busters. Like it gets nasty around here. But here's the deal. It's not low right now. It was low the last time we saw them, which was back in October when they lost to the Mets. But you know they're a good baseball team. Like, this isn't a team that then lost 3 of their core guys. Right? Like, I'm trying to think of some of the playoff teams last year. Like, imagine being a Marlins fan. You make the playoffs, and then you trade away 4. I'm not talking about this past year.
Sure,
but
yeah.
You make the playoffs, and then you trade away 4 guys. Like, that is a rough spot to be in following a playoff season.
Correct.
The Phillies are running it back, and I know that's something that we didn't want.
I'm not a fan of.
I don't think Kepler's like the answer for this team. But running it back is still running back a 95-win baseball team. And there's still the trade deadline that at some point I imagine they'll be buyers in.
This could be a year.
And because this is the year where we're all saying it, this is like the final straw. This is the last year of this core. I would imagine they're a little bit more aggressive at the deadline. Not aggressive to the point
Not
of
with
Miller
the top
and
3,
Painter, right?
as Connor was putting.
But maybe they do package like their 7th and 10th prospect to get a legitimate player that can help them make a push for the World Series. Because I get the big bad Dodgers, but your window is only open for so long. You can't let this window shut just because the Dodgers are part of the bracket.
Nope. Can't happen.
So I don't know how people can be at their lowest on March 26th. Tomorrow's opening day. How can you be low already?
We won't be.
No.
We're having a party.
No, we promise tomorrow's going to be a party on this show. Man.
I'm looking forward to it. You haven't picked your fit yet, but that's all right.
I'll figure it out.
Do you have your outfit for tomorrow picked out before the 10 a.m. ending show is over already?
Well, for opening day of baseball, I do. By the way, I have 2. The only question is, Liv got me a Harper for Christmas. So, do I wear Harper or Turner? And I bought Turner last year at our friends at Rally House.
You did. I remember that.
To try to bring good luck to Trey Turner.
And he did have a good season. It
What a
worked.
good season.
He had a good season.
Then I think
he had a bad
here's what I'm
final
gonna do.
month.
In honor of leadoff hitter Trey Turner, tomorrow
Yes.
it's Turner Day.
Okay.
And then I will wear Harper
On day 2.
at the game on Saturday when I'll be there.
Well, wear it twice. Who
I'll be
cares?
there watching Jesus.
That's right, Jesus Luzardo.
No, because you never know what he's going to do. Captain Hook might end up doing, we're just going to go with a Schwarber bat leadoff on Saturday. Let's try something different.
Give us one more text
It's been
message
a game.
before we get to the key 3.
Jimmy Rollins said he was fine with it.
Call.
All right. This is a check-in. No name on this one. They say when you have a guy like Bryce Harper in your lineup, he's expected to win like Michael Jordan. I guess 6-0, win everything. That's what people expect. And when you don't get that, people get down on the team.
But the thing is, though, if Michael Jordan's doing everything he can do, which
Right.
Bryce Harper has, he is statistically one of the greatest postseason players in National League history.
Yeah.
History. And so he's doing everything he can do. Blame the supporting cast that didn't step up. And don't blame Nick Castellanos, who had 7 hits against the Mets and was their best player.
It was great for the sport of baseball that Shohei Ohtani won a World Series. Remember how many years he was with the Angels with Mike Trout, the other one of the best players in Major League Baseball?
And he was golfing in October.
Yeah. So
I don't know if he golfs.
Just because you have Harper doesn't mean like you have to automatically say, hey, they got to win a World Series. Like, I get it. If Harper's tenure ends without a ring, it's going to be disappointing, but he had a lot of great memories, and it's still early on. All right, it's time now for the Kincade Salciunas Key 3 best minutes from today's show.
Now, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
So yesterday, you were pitching a topic, and I would like you to give that to the people.
I would tell everybody that, first of all, I'm of the belief that people are now sort of just nudging other Phillies fans because, honestly, if you know baseball and you understand baseball, there's no way you can look at this Phillies team and not be excited about 2025.
Right.
Like, I think it's almost like a low-key troll job.
Like contrarian.
Whatever it is, you're just going to be contrarian because if you're not excited about this Phillies team and you don't think they're going to win like 90 games, you're just being contrary because without injury, that should absolutely happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
But one thing that I think for a lot of people would point to that I've heard is, well, this team's, they're up and down. They got to get hot at the right time. I can point to a couple things, though, the last 3 years. I'm going to ask the 2025 Phillies to do something that they haven't done in the 3 years that they've been good.
Okay.
The last 3.
And they have been good. Yeah.
They've been more than good. In 2022, they played a 50-game stretch where they were 21 and 29. Ridiculous for the amount of money that John Middleton spends, the amount of talent they had. It got Joe Girardi fired. They played 20 games over 500 from that point on, and it was great. Then they follow up in 2023, all that momentum, and they come out and they go 25 and 32.
Yeah.
7 games under 500, and then they play 65 and 40, 25 games over, better than the year before, after June the 1st. So those 2 runs, the Phillies didn't start playing in 22 and 23 until after June 1st.
That's when the June Schwarber Fest, all that kind of stuff starts.
Last year, they go opposite.
Yeah.
They start out 61 and 32.
Which is insane.
And I picked that date because they went 61 and 32 the night that they finished sweeping the Dodgers.
Yeah.
From that point on, they played 34 and 35. Under 500 for 70 games for half the season, which is unacceptable. So you had 2 years where you had 50-game stretches where it was unacceptable. Last year, you had a 70-game stretch where it was unacceptable. The Phillies got to be hearing some of the negative chatter, and I hope they tune it all out because I do think people are trying to be contrarian. But I will say this. It's unacceptable if this Phillies team puts up another 50-game, 70-game stretch of just mediocre to subpar baseball.
I'll ask you guys both this question. Why does it feel like the majority of the talking points going into this season are more negative than positive? And I mean like negative, right? Like we are getting texters saying this is the year they don't make the playoffs or this is just another year where they're going to lose early on. Like there is a lot of lack of hope from people. And this team is going to be good. You're right, John. Like anybody that's not excited for the season, then it almost feels like they're just doing that to do it. But I do believe there are people that are legitimately worried going into this year. But why? Like, is it because of the Dodgers? Is the Dodgers factor part of it because they have this ridiculous team? Like you look around the division, we'll talk about it later. Like the Mets don't scare me. They have a fun lineup, but the rotation's not good.
We're going to get people to positivity by first pitch tomorrow.
That's
good
what
luck.
I hope.
I think we're going to, Connor.
From ESPN, our man Adam Schefter joins us. Shefty, good morning.
Multiple people that have said something similar that all have a similar belief that the player that you get at 10 is the same kind of player you get at 32, and that really the Eagles may be picking a player at 32 that just as easily could have gone number 12.
Those 3 seasons, 3 consecutive seasons, a World Series appearance, an NLCS appearance, and a 95-win baseball team. You're right. I mean, they had 3 consecutive years with like 2 to 3 months of subpar baseball for this team. For this baseball team, with the roster that they have, the pitching staff that they have, the money allocated that they have, as you mentioned, the bullpen that they have, there is no reason that a team like this, maybe 1 out of the last 3 years, but all 3, that means there is something going on with the team.
But can I spin it one way as a potential positive? Of course. This Phillies team, they play a large stretch of 2022, 20 games over, which, by the way, would mean 91 and 71 over the course of a year.
Right.
They played 25 over for a large stretch in 23. And last year, they played 29 over. So this team is still great when they want to be, when they focus, when they do their jobs. And to me, that's a great thing.
All right, that is the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. 3 best minutes from today's show.
Love that. And it's been a fun, spirited show today.
It has been. And tomorrow will be like
tomorrow's party.
Tomorrow's pepper rally day. You know, it's all
Come on.
It's all Phillies, all fighting up. What time is it? 4:05 tomorrow?
Yes. 4:05. Right after General Hospital.
I love a 4:05.
I wish it was earlier.
4:05.
No.
You know what? 4:05 is perfect for me because I pick up Coop at 3 from daycare. I can get him settled, and then I can just sit down and watch the game.
Look, Sonny just had a heart attack. He's on the floor, and Ava is saying, "Do you need your medication?" and holding the bottle with
see
the
what we're
pill.
The soaps can wait.
You
the
see what we're
baseball
missing,
season's
Connor?
here.
See that you're missing.
I love 4:05, 4:05, 1:35, 3:05. The first 4 games.
It's a hot spot.
It's a morning show host dream.
Yes, it is.
You know, and then you get the 6:45, but then right back to the 1:05 against the Rockies on Thursday.
I can't wait for our Coming to Jesus meeting on Saturday down in Washington. I'm looking forward to that.
Damn right, man.
That's pretty a little arrogant. Naming your kid Jesus. A little arrogant. You're like, it's the best name in the world.
No.
And he better pitch well.
They think very highly of
He
him.
better pitch well. Yeah. Hey, support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partner, Window Nation, and make a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research. You can do it today at 975thefanatic.com/AACR. God bless them. Cancer research saves lives.
Damn right. And I saw our man Ron Davis yesterday.
You did. How was
also
Ron?
a big donator with the AACR.
He is. He's a great dude, too.
He's doing good. Good to see him. He had the nice Phillies pullover yesterday, like the old maroon pullover.
He lights cigars with 20s.
Yeah, well.
Let's be honest.
Listen, man, he's excited for opening.
There it is. We're looking forward to it.
All right, knockout night. See you there if you're going. We'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll also talk Phillies baseball on opening day.